Hey yo, I just want to say shout out to my red bike. It got stolen about a year ago, and I think about you every day. But you know, now I got a blue bike, and it's not the same, but it's a new life, a new journey. So rest in pedals, red bike, I love you. I like to bask in the tropics with a flask in my pocket. If you acting no brolic, I'll start laughing and mocking like a charismatic parrot that isn't comic. Now I'm feeling like the shit, cause I'm rapping with phonics. Loose off of Jen Ricky's, perusing Sin City, riding my Schwinn smooth like the swing of Ken Griffey. And the felt of the velvet, I said hell with a helmet. I can tell that you're jealous of the smell of the shellfish. Don't tell me I need a haircut. You can't walk a mile in my shoes cause I'm barefoot. Bob's taking the toke, God's making the joke. With a Mickey Mantle rookie card close pinned in my spoke. I'm partying with the dead like Dia de los Muertos. People look at me funny cause I'm a scarecrow, but I don't care bro, I'm snacking on apricots. I need my space like an astronaut. I'm in the sun chasing rum with the juice of a plum. In a singing mood and drinking booze like a bomb. Someone stole my red bike, so I bought a blue one. I was sad, but fuck it, I got a new one. Chasing rum with the juice of a plum. In a singing mood and drinking booze like a bomb. Someone stole my red bike, so I bought a blue one. I was sad, but fuck it, I got a new one. I wanna live in Bolivia, be oblivious. I'm sick of always having to deal with these idiots. The ignorance is ubiquitous and it's hideous. When I get lucky, that's when I'm the wittiest. When people don't leave me alone, that's the shittiest. When people leave their phone at home, that's the prettiest. Going on a hike shouldn't be considered hippie shit. It's okay to spend some days away from your affiliates. Mother Nature's where I'm planting my seed. Do a dance in the breeze on the branch of a tree. I reside in my mind, that's the land of the free. I got the world in my palm, you should hand it to me. I can't copy and steal cause I got art etiquette. Sometimes I think that everyone's my arch nemesis. I've come to the conclusion my bike is my best friend. My worst enemies tend to be dead ends. In the sun chasing rum with the juice of a plum. In a singing mood and drinking booze like a bomb. Someone stole my red bike, so I bought a blue one. I was sad, but fuck it, I got a new one. Chasing rum with the juice of a plum. In a singing mood and drinking booze like a bomb. Someone stole my red bike, so I bought a blue one. I was sad, but fuck it, I got a new one.
I got a new thing, yeah. I hope that it's alright with you. With you, with you. I told my girl I got a new thing, yeah. I hope that it's alright with you. With you, with you. Hey yo, someone stole my red bike, so I bought a blue one. If I see that fucker riding it, then I'ma sue one. Got rich, then I blew up, got everyone in my crew one. Ride for my true ones. Yo, I told my girl I got a new thing, yeah, yeah. I hope that this alright with you. With you, with you.
I would hope it's alright with a lot of you guys as well. So, how's it going, chat? Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the stream. We're still in some testing things here, so I got a couple of scripts running. But I should have most of the kinks squared away with the stream skipping or whatnot. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Really, this is just kind of, yet again, it's like a science experiment type situation. But I'll answer any questions or anything there, or we'll talk about whatever you guys really want to talk about for whatever time we have. So that's a thing. If you guys saw the end of Capcom Cup, you know how that played out. Not a single American in the top 8, to be honest. So, you know, DSP's probably big mad about that. He's probably happy that none of his rivals won, but a whole new batch of young people, young players, Cinderella stories, if you will, did go ahead and win, did go ahead and make name for themselves, and got themselves in the pool. That's probably going to make DSP butthurt, but that's the thing. It is what it is. Let's go ahead and change our drop a little bit. Alright, and if I'm too high or too low, you know the situation, just holler at me and I'll make adjustments as needed, and we'll go from there. So where do we start? I guess, as I'm, like I said, just messing with some stuff in the background. We could talk about, let's see, what has happened since our last situation. Everything I called about Rich happened, to be honest, and it's gonna keep happening, by the way. So we can speak on that to length if you want. We can speak on King Cobra and his dumb shit. We can do that if you like. We can speak about obviously DSP. We can speak about Low Tier God, whatever you really want. To be honest, there's a lot to talk about and whatnot. So I'd like to get that all out there if you want. And I might stream later on the week too. So that's a thing. Let me drop some Snortbucks in there for you. As you guys know, March is coming up, and one of my favorite times in March, the Eyes of March, which is historically a situation that happened to Caesar but can be applied to anybody. That's coming up, so I have something planned for that, just in March in general. As well as I'm side questing, so that'll be a thing too. So, a lot of cool things, maybe not cool, but a lot of interesting things happening. So, that is a thing. Like I said, if I sound alright to you, cool. Let's go ahead and see if I can... Did I finally get this thing to work? I say that with a bit of trepidation and whatnot. Haha, yeah! Now see, I can actually customize that too. So, we'll see how that plays out. What's up, Dead School? What's up, Crispy? What's up, Excalibur? What's up, David? What's up, people? How you guys doing? So yeah, we can go anywhere you want with it, really. Whatever you guys want to start off with. Have I ever seen Low Tier God's take on having a daughter? No, I have not. I have seen some of the stuff about the grooming allegations or whatever the case may be on that. I haven't seen enough to give you anything tangible at the moment. But as of late, he's been, at least from what I've been paying attention to, was he had given the award for top FGC streamer at some award show and whatnot. He got booed heavily, which is kind of to be expected. And but yet he seemed to have taken it on the chin and he kept it pushing. From what I heard, people behind the scenes were basically like people who were there, who actually had a chance to interact with him or see him interact with people. That dude said, or at least the people that I heard from said that he was like Hallmark cards and bubblegum and shit. Like he was sitting there like, you know, talking it up with people, this, that, and the third. He used this opportunity as a way of networking, which, to be honest, that's what he should do. The booing or being hated, I should say, that just is all par for the course. That's just what comes with the situation. And if he parlays it into properly, he can make something come out of it. Because as it pertains to some of the grooming allegations or whatever, there's already people picking it apart. So but I can't say either which way. But as it pertains to his showing at the streaming awards, and from what I've heard that happened behind the scenes or whatever, he handled his cards properly. It is what it is. So there's pretty much that. He can compete. He can actually compete in the FGC. He can't compete at Evo. That's what is really his problem. He can't compete at Evo. I don't know if he's banned from Capcom Cup, but I think he can't compete at Evo though. I think that's one of his main problems. And truth be told, he doesn't need to compete. He could just show up. I mean, and just parlay that way. He doesn't have to actually go there and play. He's not bigger than the FGC, but he's made himself a name. He's built himself up as a name where he doesn't need to really compete, to be honest with you. Like, beating Low Tier God at Evo doesn't hold anything, really. You know what I'm saying? He has more... There are more people there that would just take pictures of him and want to, you know, kind of just interact with him to see if he's anything close to what his online counterpart is than anything else. So, but yeah, he can't. As far as I know, he can't compete at Evo. I don't think he's banned from Capcom Cup. It is what it is. He handled that situation with Zero Blast just terribly. He should have just apologized and just kept it pushing, to be honest. So it is what it is. So, you know, he's not losing anything or whatnot. He's in a better position than DSP is, which is hilarious. You know what I'm saying? Which is hilarious. So, there's a situation on that. How's it going, everybody in chat? Hopefully you guys are doing alright. So, yeah, that reality show thing that he did all those years ago. excuse me, yet again, it was good publicity for what it was. I did see, now that I think about it, I saw what Gootecks said on Twitter, where they were that wasn't the angle he should have gone at it. I understood what Gootecks was trying to say, but to go ahead and basically play it's February, it's Black History Month or whatever, and that's the only reason why they got his black ass up there. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have any real merit or anything. He shouldn't have gone at it at that angle. Gootecks should have not have handled it that way. Like, I get what he was saying. I get what he was saying. Like, hey, they just put you up there so they can shit on you and whatever, because you've made a terrible reputation for yourself. And it's just exploitation or whatever. I get what Gootecks was saying. He shouldn't have done it that way, though. He shouldn't have said it like that. That's not how he should have done it. The moment Gootecks brought race into it, he fucked himself, to be honest. So, that was, I mean, but if that's what he said and that's how he felt, it is what it is, but he shouldn't have said it like that. It would not. It only undermines what he was trying to say. If anything, it makes him look kind of prejudiced in some ways by doing so. He should have been smarter about that. So it is what it is, I suppose. I mean, truth be told, they got there wasn't any build up to Low Tier God even being there, so no one could have known until he actually showed up. And it is what it was. And truth be told, the only thing that really would have given that situation value is if Max had won. Don't be wrong. Big ups to everybody else that, Samus and everybody else that showed up or whatever and got nominated. But if Max had won and Low Tier God had to present him the award, it would have had so much more impact, given all the nonsense that LTG has said about Max over the years. Of course, and this is something I've had a conversation with a few people about, for everything that LTG has said about Max, he's never attacked, as far as I know, he never attacked like the dude's family or anything, right? He just attacked his persona, his platform, and his influence, which is what you would expect out of LTG. He never really went at him in such a way where Max needs to catch feelings and publicly, publicly approach him or even acknowledge him. That's not something that LTG's ever really done. That's to his benefit, to be honest. And so it is what it is. So, like I said, he had a decent look at, like I said, at that award show. It is what it is. It would have probably given LTG more value if he was on YouTube, to be honest with you. But it is what it was. Yeah, I don't know where LTG got the suit from. That probably wouldn't have been my choice, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the biggest stages that dude's ever been on. He made it what it was. Hell yeah, LTG has it out for, well, I don't know if I can say LTG has the same type of animosity for Max as DSP does. I can't really say that, in all honesty. For LTG, he just looks at Max, and he looks at his persona, to be honest with you, and he sees that it's fraudulent, but it's entertainment, so it is what it is. DSP is just absolutely pissed off at the fact that Max is successful in all the ways that DSP couldn't. If you know anything about Max's history, he started off with Call of Duty and fighting games, and then he kind of grew upon it. And then you got Yo Video Games, where he actually built up, and he basically built up to where he could play other things besides fighting games. And then when the FGC got into a real bad spot for a good amount of time, a good amount of years, he was the one that basically carried the torch for the FGC and kept interest on YouTube and Twitch for fighting games. And I don't know if you could contribute all of this to him, but he's one of the people that I personally give a lot of credit to, of convincing people in the FGC to start making content, to start streaming, or to start making YouTube videos, which is kind of like what you see in Call of Duty currently, right? Let's be honest, pro Call of Duty's fucked, royally, to be honest. Between the cheating allegations, between money's drying up at Activision for them, so to speak, and whatever, and for truth be told, you just got a lot of these guys who are tapping out. The pressure of trying to win Call of Duty Pro League or whatever, or win a Worlds or whatever the case may be, is just fading out. and they just don't have enough interest in it, to be honest. Especially if you knew how the money gets cut up amongst players and teams and shit, you would kind of have a better understanding of what I'm saying. Maybe I'll delve in that into another time. But the point being is that if you have built yourself a name in the Pro League, right, you probably have a pretty good social media following. With that being said, you might as well just go ahead and do content. You know what I'm saying? Just stream and make videos and shit. You already have a name. You already have a viewer base and a fan base. Just do that. Like, that's why Scump and Hex, I think is what his name is, from Optic. That's the reason why they suing Call of Duty right now, or Activision. They're not suing over those bullshit contracts that they signed. They're suing because there's a fucking gold mine in watch parties for Call of Duty events, right? For pro events and shit. There's a gold mine of money there. And especially someone like Scump, who just on YouTube alone can pull like 50, 60,000 people for those watch parties. And everything that comes with that, especially with advertisements and sponsorships and all that bullshit later. And Activision came in and was like, nah, bitch. Nah. They were okay with it for a while. Until they saw that their Pro League numbers are starting to die out because people are just going to their favorite personalities basically to watch the content. Now they're like, oh no, you guys can't do that. You can't do that. Even though if you look at the contracts though, the contracts are fucked. Like, first off, it was always under the expectation that it was $25 million to buy into the league, which wasn't worth it anyway. Which is the reason why Nate Shot didn't get 100 Thieves into the Pro League at first. He did it later, which he probably still shouldn't have done. But he didn't do it in the beginning because it wasn't worth the investment. But now we know that, oh, well, Activision gets like a 50% cut of everything else when it comes to merchandise, rebroadcasting rights, and all kinds of dumb shit. Why the fuck would you give them all that when you already paid $25 million to get in? Oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't $25 million. It was like $27.5 million. There's a reason why there's only like 12 teams or whatever it is, 12 or 16. There's a reason why there's only so little teams there. And it's just the same guys fighting for fucking table scraps, which is fucked up because if you go back and you watch the Call of Duty League back in Black Ops 2's era, so we're talking like 2012, I'm pretty confident there was more teams, but there was more people invested because of how small the circumstances were, right? Like how small the scene was, and anybody could jump in. Anybody had that accessibility. It's not like that now. What it is now is that Activision basically figured out a way to get in and get everything, and now the way the Call of Duty Pro League is now is how Smash Brothers is about to be. First off and foremost, let's talk about the Smash community for a minute. Besides all the pedophiles and all the other bullshit that's going around that bitch, when they fucked over Panda Global, now Nintendo's in that bitch and they pretty much have everything. Not only do you need to get a license just for you to bring in sponsorships and whatever, but eventually they're gonna eventually own broadcasting rights. If they have that, they're gonna have everything. They're gonna have a literal monopoly over their shit. And here's the crazy part: they didn't even want it. That's why they fucking put all that. That's why they put like $2 million or $3 million behind Panda Global. They had a buffer. They were like, hey, you handle this shit, and then you just give us our cut and make sure they follow our rules. Instead, you had people like Ludwig, you had people like fucking Moist Critical who are running around saying, oh, they're trying to go ahead and monopolize the whole situation and they're trying to fuck over the whole league and shit. And it's funny that no one calls out Moist Critical or Ludwig on that shit. Those two sat there and basically help Panda Global get fucked and fuck the league over, and now neither one of them says shit because Ludwig and Charlie don't even care about Smash like that. It's just like some little shit that they like to do a couple of times a year, and that's it. In such a way that they don't even need a license. So they don't have to throw any of their sponsorships or anything behind it because theoretically they can't, and they can just have their little hobby, not realizing they fucked over an entire community because they wanted to sit there and go by a narrative instead of actually doing some goddamn research and finding out what really happened. And if I'm going to go ahead and take shots at those two, I got to take shots at other people too. So now I have to go at, I have to take a shot at, what's my dude's name, man? And I don't even want to go at him, but I have to. Devin Nash. I have to go at him too because he's an insider. And he knew he had the resources to be able to actually go and see exactly what the situation was. And instead he followed the narrative because it made sense at the time. And look at Devin. Like, Devin barely even posts anymore, but not because of the Smash shit. It's just because he just, I don't know if it's like a confidence thing. I'm not sure what he has going on in real life or whatever. But the thing is someone of Devin's background and his experience and shit, he should have known better. And it was bad enough that it's bad enough that community already has a shitload of problems and they need to clean that shit up. But this shit right here was just, I don't know, it was dumb. It was so fucking dumb. And like, so where Smash is about to go, what's up, Robert? Is exactly where Call of Duty's at. Call of Duty has a chokehold on everything. They have the casual community fucked over, heavy. Like, if you're not buying bundles, you're not getting advantages anymore because there's definitely secret stats linked to all that bullshit. On top of the fact that now they're trying to exercise control over all the rights for their broadcasting, merch, and all that other bullshit. Like, they literally got these Call of Duty guys in a chokehold. That's why, and I have to admit this myself, all those years ago when XQC, I want to say when he left Overwatch, but truth be told, he kind of got kicked out. When he left Overwatch, it made sense. It made sense to leave because there was far more money in content creation. And especially as someone as a spurg as fucking XQC, it worked out. Well, guess what? Some of these Call of Duty guys are fucking nutsos too. So they might as well get the fuck up out of pro play and just go to just making regular content. It just makes more sense. But that's just neither here nor there and whatnot. Like, holy shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, holy shit. Like, the more that I get into, like, talking to people about the league and about gaming in general, the amount of money that can be made is stupid. Like, there's so many opportunities out there if you're willing to go out there and get it. And when I turn around and I look at, like, fucking Wings of Redemption's dumbass and shit, even now there's a demand for that idiot to make, like, Call of Duty content. Not stream. Not this fucking instant ATM bullshit that these locals use the shit for. I mean, actually putting in work and actually making videos, making content and talking about it. There's a viewer base out there for that shit. He's just too lazy to do it. And he's so worried about all these young guys who are pulling in all this money, far more money than he ever made. Killing him in the algorithm, or truth be told, him not having a leg up in the algorithm, I should say, and in search results, is the real reason why he don't want to do it. That's really what's really happened to him. Because he ain't fucked over all of his opportunities. You can't use the term Wings of Redemption because the trolls have that. Can't use Jordy Jordan because the trolls have that. And everything else he has is linked to fucking PKA. So, like, he's fucked all the way around. He can't do shit. And getting 14,000 views on a video when you haven't made a Call of Duty video in years isn't bad. It's a good start. Especially when at least some of the content creators that I spoke to when I wanted to get some insight on what I needed to do and how should I approach this and whatever. They were like, at least right now especially, Call of Duty content is low. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you can jump on a video and talk about some of the problems or some of the problems that you perceive in the game or whatever, then you're in a really good spot. You have all the content you need. He could do that for Rainbow Six Siege too. He just won't do it because he doesn't feel like he has the advantage. And it's just like DSP in a lot of ways. It's literally like DSP. When am I gonna drop a video? Okay, now as it pertains to my side quest thing, that's over there. If you're talking about actual DSP content in the upcoming month, to be honest with you, there was I actually am redoing a series of videos that I had been working on for the better part of last year. I just vaulted all that shit and I'm just gonna start from scratch. And one of my reasons for doing that is because when I saw, okay, so we had this event, fuck this, man, I'm not fucking really good at being covert about shit. When I saw what happened with the interview with Side Scrollers, and when I saw what happened afterwards, as you know, I was kind of working on it periodically, whatever. And that kind of annoys me, because, like, if I take multiple breaks through something that massive, that large, or, you know what I'm saying, or that extent, if you will, it just kind of annoys me, so I just go ahead and just scrap the shit altogether. Well, now I'm not going to just focus on the interview, but I'm going to focus on the aftermath and all the different things that happen afterwards. But I also want to kind of put some small focus on how the tractor community itself was affected by it, because it wasn't affected in the way that it didn't pan out the way people thought it did. I think if you look back at it a year later, which is why I kind of decided to do it the way I did. Yeah, I did watch Capcom Cup. We actually talked about that early on and shit. Like no Americans in top 8, top 4 guys are all people DSP would hate just off their nationality, just off that. I like to say congratulations to everybody and shit like that. To be honest, I'm not mad at nobody. Like, you know what I'm saying? Go out there and get it. Go out there and get it. To be honest, but DSP would be big mad. Big mad. Makes that number 1 ranked North American player shit all these years later makes it seem really fucking retarded. That's what that shit was. Holy shit. And that's in a lot of ways, if you want to look at DSP, if you want to look at DSP's penchant for racism as it pertains to some of the people around him or whatever, you can understand why he did the North American term now. Because he's so desperate to keep himself relevant and to keep the sport a certain type of way, if you will, without having heavy intrusion from outside influences or flavor or whatever you want to call it. It makes a whole lot more sense now, because I hear a lot of people saying, oh, we need to stop pro-clutching about DSP being a racist, this, that, and the third. DSP is a racist, and that's just the way of the game, to be honest. You can, and I can give you examples, but one of the best examples of how subtle he was about this racism was with Medicare. When Medicare was wanting to interview him, and Medicare was streaming wherever he was streaming at, you saw the N-word come up multiple times, and DSP's like, I can't do that. I can't say that. Why is he doing that? Does he not care about his brand? You can hear the jealousy in his voice about not being able to do something that someone else does. And it's clear that he wants to do it, and it's clear because there's multiple times that he said, oh, I wish I could say what I used to say back in the day, but I can't because of the repercussions and shit. If you're not racist, you don't need to go ahead and go down to the lowest fucking common denominator, which is what racism is, to fucking make a point, or to make a joke, or whatever the fuck. You shouldn't need to do that, I should say. You know what I'm saying? That's why most of these dudes who run around say, oh, edgy this, edgy that, whatever, most of these dudes can't even get jobs out there, especially if they've been found out who they are. And the ones who are have to be real careful about how they move and where they move at, because they don't want that shit following them. There's a reason why fucking Turkey Tom is stuck where he's at. And though he's stuck in a very good position, let's not lie about that. He's stuck in a very good position. He can't move the way he wants to move. He's stuck in that position for a fucking reason. You want an example of that? I'll give you one. This guy got into a car accident last year, 2023. It was like early, mid-year, whatever. I don't know why he would post that shit on Twitter or wherever the fuck he posted it, but he posted that he was in a car accident. The first thing that came out was, oh, it's unfortunate you didn't die. And there was a lot of people who said that shit and was laughing at it. He sat there and got butthurt and be like, what the fuck, dude? I could have lost my life. And somebody, I can't remember the user's name now, but it doesn't matter. The dude basically said, hey bro, we're just being edgy. And what did he do? He got butthurt and got the fuck off Twitter for a little while. What's the problem? What's the problem? It was okay to joke around and do his bullshit when he was doing it. Oh, he was in a position where he could have gotten seriously hurt or almost died, and he got mad because people on Twitter got mad. He got mad because people on Twitter joked about it. Grow the fuck up. Grow the fuck up. It's people like you who propagated shit like that. And now he wants to do he kind of wants to do the clean cut shit now, whatever. And he wants to kind of come across as being more serious. And it's like, it's kind of too late for that. The usual people who eat it up will eat it up, but it's kind of too late for all that bullshit. You gotta watch what you do. That's literally what it comes down to. You gotta watch what you do. If you live by the sword, you gotta die by the sword. There ain't no getting around that shit. There ain't no getting around that shit. It is what it is. And like I said, it's not like anybody's out here saying that DSP is like a card-carrying member of the fucking KKK and shit. But if he could say the N-word without repercussion, or if he could talk about Hispanics or Asians the way he'd want to, he'd do it. He'd do it. And he knows that. That's why he cried for years on end saying, you guys try to get me killed. You made people want to fucking hate me for stupid jokes. Oh, so they're stupid jokes now because you have to suffer the repercussions of it. But they weren't stupid back then, they were just jokes. The concept of hiding behind a joke in itself is stupid because guess what? 50% of a joke is the truth. If that's how you feel about something, then that's how you feel. My thing is, if DSP, I'll be the first one to come out and tell you. If DSP wants to say the N-word, let him say it. I got no problem with that. He just needs to be ready for the repercussions behind it. And that's the problem. Everybody wants to run around here and say the N-word and shit, or say this or say that, but no one wants to deal with the repercussions that comes from that. I'm not gonna hinder his freedom of speech. If he thinks that people at stationaries and whatnot are whatever, then let him. But let him deal with what comes from that. He don't want to do that. Same thing with that nonsense with Wings and all that bullshit that entailed. He went out there and he said all that crazy shit, right? He said all that crazy shit for years, and then he don't want to deal with the consequences of it. Well, fuck you. Fuck you. I don't care that you said whatever. Of course people are gonna bring that shit up. And then when he killed his safety blanket, which was PKA, now he out here fighting for his life every day. He's streaming saying, I didn't mean that. It was a joke, or I was just trying to be edgy and this, that. Shut the fuck up. You don't run around and joke about kids or whatever crazy other shit he was talking about and not think people are going to bring that shit up. It is what it is. The problem, as it pertains to, if you're really trying to peg Wings of Redemption, for example, if you're trying to really peg him as something and making it stick, the way people are doing it now is not going to work. Like that's like it's not the way to approach it. If you're gonna hit, for example, if you're gonna hit Wings with, oh, Wings is a pedo and whatnot, and yeah, you have all this video evidence, this, that, and the third, or whatever. That's not how that's not gonna work for people that are outside of what you do, right? Like if you're in the Wings community, they already gonna be on your side about that no matter what. So that doesn't really even matter. If you're trying to present that to normies, if you're trying to present that to people in the commentator community, who when they really hear the term pedophile or pedo or whatever case may be, it really elicits a response that may even want them to go to action. You have to go about it a different way. But with that being said, now we get into the thing for whoever it is that is pegging Wings with that. Do you want him killed? Because I'll be blunt about it. People that I know and people where they're from and where I'm from, whatever, stuff like that, those people who are actually tried and convicted as pedophiles, they don't last long. So if you're gonna peg that on someone, the assumption is you want them dead. And if something does happen to Wings, are you ready to stand behind that when he is dead? That's the first thing. I'm not trying to make it about morals. If you're really about that life and you really want him out, are you ready for that? And are you ready to stand behind that? Secondly, you presenting the way you approach it to a normie is not the way that you present it to people that you talk to every day. Instead of saying, he said this, he said that, he said this, he said that, instead of doing all of that, be like, hey, this is what he has said, and this is the actions that went with it. You decide what that is. What I'm saying is, this right here is inappropriate, this right here was out of line, you basically lead up to calling him or accusing him of being this without actually saying that he's this. You give people a reason to walk with you through your steps or through your line of thinking, and then you let them make that decision. Because if you call him a pedo and then everybody else just agrees with you and shit, it's just gonna look like and sound like a hive mind type thing. If you let people if you go ahead and present your evidence and let people build up to it, that's different. In court, it would be considered leading the witness or whatever the case may be. But it's far better and it's far more compelling to do that than to just label him as something and then expect people to just run with it. It doesn't work that way. That's why when you try to convince DSP shit to normies, they look at us like we're fucking psychopaths because they're like, is that it? Is that it? Is that all you have? And a lot of it comes down to what people choose to hit him with to get him to that point. You know what I'm saying? It all depends on how you accuse what you accuse him of. So that's really what that comes down to be honest. Absolutely. If you have to go to violence and whatnot, you're already kind of lost the fight. What I'm saying is though, and like I said, you're right. What I'm saying is that when in a lot of these circles where that word gets flung around, there's usually someone that's going to be willing to do something about it. So you have to be, so if you're going to accuse somebody of something, you need to be ready to stand behind that later if something happens to them. That's like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what that really comes down to. And so when I saw the interview or whatnot, and like first Keem already came. Okay, so the interview happened with Lil Cal Live and 007, and I gotta admit I'm surprised 007 fell into the traps that were laid there, because there was a lot of them. Like from the jump, Keem set him up. Like, to be honest. Because my understanding is that the last time 007 had an interaction with them, 00, where somebody was playing, you know, Alys as an N-word and all that nonsense or whatever. So Keem already felt a certain type of way around him and about him. So then when you go up there and you're like, oh, he's this, and then you try to, Wings was basically like, what do you say? As a father, I thought you would have a better understanding this, that, and third. Dude, Keem don't move like that. Keem does not move like that. Keem has made enough money to isolate his child from whatever. So that right there is not something that's going to compel to him, because that's not in Keem's personality. Keem knows he takes care of his kids, so this internet bullshit is just that. When he's done with it, he'll just turn the shit off. He'll just turn the shit off. So you can't appeal to his sensibilities as a parent, because he looks at it as, my parenting is real life, IRL, not this online bullshit that I can shut off whenever the fuck I want. That's the first thing. The second thing is, despite the evidence that he presented, it does, if you look at it from from Keem's standpoint, it makes Wings seem like a fucking massive creep and whatnot. Now Wings is a little bit more than a fucking creep, but it makes him look like a massive fucking creep. The third problem and the third trap, to be honest, is Keem got 007 to say that, yo, Wings is a massive fucking liar, and yet you're trying to use Wings' words against him. That right there was like a major problem. And that's where the conversation for 00 needed to shift. Because you can't say that this dude's a massive fucking liar and then, like, use his words to peg him. Yes, he said it, but we're also saying that he's a massive liar and he lies about fucking everything. You know what I'm saying? That was the hump, or the hill, or the mountain, if you will, that 007 needed to climb. So now, and that's why I was saying earlier on, he needs to present his argument different. If you're going to say Wings is this, you need more than just what Wings said to get over your point. If not, you're gonna fuck yourself. You're just gonna get yourself back into the same hamster wheel. So that's where, like, 007 needs to kind of go back to the drawing board and figure out what he needs to do next. On top of that, there's no point in appealing to Wings, or not Wings, to Keem or anybody that's in Keem's circle. Like, you need to get somebody else of stature who you can go to and actually try to work something out. The problem is, since the Mama Max situation, it's kind of been proven that most of these people out here are just grifters. So now, you don't even know, you know what I'm saying? You don't even know how you even want to go about that. So it's a problem. It's a real big problem, depending on how he decides to go about it. But that's just my thoughts. To be honest, that was an ugly situation. So, but like I said, he walked into some traps. To be honest with you, he walked into some pretty ugly traps. To be honest, and the thing is though too is some of the manipulation on Keem, Wings, and Boogie's part also really, like, tells the tale. Because if you look at it, like when Boogie said, I'm mad. I'm mad 007 didn't call this out, actually. I am legitimately mad 007 didn't call this out. When Boogie went on his spiel about, if you're really about getting rid of people who hurt kids, why aren't you doing more? Why aren't you doing enough to help people like me and this, that, and the third? And he threw his headset down and walked away. I was like, fuck! I was like, either 007 needs to either pull himself out of that interview, or when Boogie gets back, he needs to go ahead and hit him directly and be like, what have you done to bring awareness to people who have suffered what you suffered? That's what needed to happen in that shit. And even though it was just completely fucking over dramatized shit on Boogie's part, it sold the story. You know what I'm saying? It sold the story. And that's why Boogie was quiet most of that time anyway. You know what I'm saying? He was waiting for his moments to do his little build-up shit because he built himself up on someone who has been victimized by parents or trusted people or whatever. And you know what I'm saying? So there was just a lot of traps, man. There's a lot of holes in that shit. Like, Jesus Christ. It's problems all around. But let's be honest with you, fucking Local Live is dead. So it is what it is. People need to let that shit go anyway. Oh shit, they need to let that shit go. So Local Live has failed. It is what it is. People need to let that shit go. But yeah, like I don't know. I need to sit down and watch it again, but he just fell into a lot of traps, which is kind of unfortunate, to be honest. But what are you gonna do? Actually, to be honest with you, Double O could have learned from watching that interview with Duty when he when he was talking to Craig and Kim and It's a Gundam and whatever, when they were trying to convey all that. That right there was a pretty good roadmap of things not to do, to be honest. So there's a thing with that. It's not about, and I agree with what you're saying here, in the fact that it's not about giving credit. It's just there was just a lot of bad moves that were done in that shit, to be honest with you. But anyway, back to with that being said, going back to what my plans are for the interview or whatever. I'm gonna obviously speak on the interview and whatnot, but periodically I want to talk about how that interview affected the community at large and like some of the people in it. It didn't really do a lot of favors in the way people, I think, thought it would, to be honest. And with that being said, I can't say that the DSP community, detractors, trolls, haters, critics, or whatever, are in a better position before it than after, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? It just wasn't a thing, to be honest with you. I just felt like it just didn't pan out. If it was a way for people to get themselves on, get themselves over, try to buddy up with other content creators or whatever, all right, so be it. But where is that now? Are you still cool with Craig? Are you still cool with Keem? What's the situation there, if anything? To be honest, it just didn't pan. To be honest with you, it didn't pan out. Like, the thing is with like any like business relationship, right, or business deal, is that it should be equal. Both sides should benefit, right? That's what makes a good deal. At least I think so. Like, Craig got what he wanted. Theoretically, the detractors, trolls, haters, and critics got what they wanted by putting DSP in a situation that proves that he can't really conversate with normal people. He can't interact with regular people, which he can't. And you know, he did admit to some things that we mostly already knew anyway. The problem I think I have is that some of the influences that Craig was speaking to leading up to it is what led to monetize the haters or whatever the case may be, which was just a backhanded way of Craig saying, hey, I'm gonna bleed you guys as long as I can, and you know, it is what you guys are gonna be okay with it, right? Because I'm going at DSP the same way you wanted me to, so why not pay me, right? And that was where Craig fucked up with the whole monetize the haters, monetize the trolls thing. that was ill-advised. But because of the people who were probably in his ear, he felt confident enough to do it. And though you could say that Side Scrollers has done whatever they needed to do after the fact, I think a lot of people realize what it was and whatnot and what it could have been, to be honest with you. And that leads into the situation with Rich. Rich, and I don't even know why I have to keep saying this, but I'm gonna do it because fuck it. Rich doesn't give a fuck about nobody. Not one of you. Whether you're over there, feeding him content, whether you're in a Discord or you're in a fucking Twitter DM with him or whatever the fuck, that dude doesn't give a shit about you. He has fucked over everybody he's ever known, and what makes any of you any different? Which goes to this situation with fucking Jay. Now, I gotta be honest, before Jay took the hit, I was thinking it was gonna either be, another detractor. To be honest with you, I thought it was gonna take the hit before. So I'm actually kind of surprised Jay took the hit already. But why not? Because according to what I heard, chat, Jay was extorting Rich and his family, right? And that Jay was a parasite, right, chat? Right? And Rich said that he didn't feel sorry about anything he said. He was going to stand behind what he said. He said he felt bad that it got out, which shows you how two-faced Rich is, because Rich said that, he said what he said, and then he was trying to get a hold of Jay, he couldn't, then he goes on stream, and he's actually trying to talk to Jay or whatever, not realizing that Jay knows what he said. So even then, Rich tried to play it off like, oh, this is just par for the course, dude. This is what happens when people get mad at each other. Sometimes they say stuff they haven't. People usually say things when they're angry and shit. Here's the thing, Jay, at least on Jay's side of it, he says that you guys are friends. So Jay thinks he's your man's. So do you treat somebody like that? Now let's go ahead and look at Rich's side of it. Jay's no friend of his. Jay is someone who fights his battles when Rich is too high or too incompetent to fight his own battles. Jay does all the editing, and then when Rich was forced to be a fucking adult and forced to be a fucking parent when his fucking daughter was in the hospital going blind and shit, who was the one who carried the mantle on that shit? That was Jay. Jay was the one on stream trying to bring in whatever money he could. Jay was the one that was being the provider when Rich was forced to go over there and be a fucking adult. And why was that, chat? Because Rich is too busy running around with his fucking nose up his ass, up DSP's ass, because he has to keep shitting on DSP so fucking Keemstar doesn't sit there and keep shitting on him, saying that you're a lolcow and you're no different than fucking DSP. That's the only reason why Rich even leaned into the whole thing about being a lolcow, was because of the fact that that Keem was already putting the skins to his ass jokingly about it. And he wanted to prove that he was better. You can thank fucking Agent Proper for that, because he reminded me of that shit. So that's what that situation is. And now Jay is up there saying, oh, we're gonna work things out. I don't plan to do anything with him on the main channel anymore, but I can't say that I won't go up there and stream with him sometime in the future, because it seems like Jay wants a farewell stream so he can get his roses or whatever the case may be. Which is funny, because that shit doesn't actually help Jay. That helps Rich. That helps Rich out. That makes Rich look like a good guy, being like, well, yeah, Rich said all that fucked up shit, but, he's willing to let Jay come back up there and get his roses. How the fuck do you call somebody who you've known for 6 years, who allowed you to be in the position that you're in, a parasite? A parasite! And then you mock Jay too, when whatever that squirrely ass situation was with Jay's final paycheck, you ain't sat there and mocked him about, I need the money for my rent. You mocked him because the dude needed money to pay rent? Money that was already owed to him that he worked for? So now chat, I want you to hold on to that. Now we go ahead and we look at Rich, and we look at some of the detractors that are around him. If he would do that to Jay, what's gonna happen to y'all? when's the shoe gonna drop on y'all? And trust me, it's coming. Because Rich initially said, and actually let me clue you guys in and whatnot on that whole situation with that Facebook situation. Hey Rich, you're never gonna find out who the person was who leaked that shit because it's more than one person, asshole. And they've been around for a minute. And you're not gonna ever find them. And even if you found one, you won't find the others. And when you go ahead and start that Facebook group again, you're gonna wanna bring that person's gonna slide right back in. And no pause on that one. They're gonna slide right back in and you're gonna like it. And then on top of that, let's jump back to Jay for a minute. Hey Jay, since he was so comfortable saying that in that Facebook group, what the hell do you think? What other things do you think he said that you haven't heard about yet? Hey Jay, didn't Duty reach out to you and say, hey man, Jay, did you hear about this thing right here? And you said, and what was the first thing that went through your head? Because I know what I saw. I saw what Duty sent you, and you were like, holy shit. And you wanted to be mad about it, but because you thought you and Rich were patching things up, you decided to let it go. Because you admitted to that. You admitted to lying for Rich. So in actuality, you let that go. But I know what really happened. In the back of your mind, you're sitting here thinking, how many other times has he said shit behind my back and what else do I not know? 6 years is a long time to be under Rich's cucumber and not think that he don't feel a certain type of way about you. Let's jump back to some of the detractors that Rich is cool with. If he would call that dude right there a parasite, then what the fuck did he think about y'all? Let's go ahead and lean on existing wisdom. Look at what he did to fucking Snort. Or to Hogan, I should say, I'm sorry. Look at what he did to Hogan. Look at what happened, look at what he did to that girl that he was stalking because the girl told him to neck himself or whatever the case may be. What about that? And some of those guys, some of you guys ride for Hogan. So why ain't nobody riding for Hogan against Rich? What's going on with that? If it was anybody else, you'd be like, I'm gonna catch you in traffic. Where Rich at? Anybody. Where Rich at? We don't have nothing to say about that. And I'm not gonna expect Duty to say nothing. Because Duty, during that situation with Travis from Side Scrollers, Duty had already said, hey, Rich treat me good, so I can't speak on nothing else. So Duty's automatically out, which means, just in case you guys don't know, Duty's gonna probably be last man standing, and he's the one who's gonna end up getting it the worst in the end. Because when Rich decides to fuck all you guys off and over, Duty's gonna be the one that's gonna be the last person to take it. And Rich is gonna expose everything. So if Duty has ever talked shit about anybody, eventually that's gonna come out because Rich is petty, and he's resentful. So he gonna let that all fly. Here's the worst part of it: for anybody who's in Rich's circle, if you've ever said anything about another detractor, he's got screenshots of that too, and he gonna put that shit out as well. Shit's about to get real fucking serious, and if you haven't said nothing, then you got nothing to worry about. If you've not said anything about anything, you got nothing to worry about. Unless you knew that Rich was fucking somebody over behind the scenes and you didn't say nothing about it. That might be a problem. That might be an issue. Maybe. So, all I'm saying is, for anybody who's in Rich's circles, you may very well want to think about who it is that you in bed with. Because this isn't his first fucking rodeo. Rich is good for screwing other people over. Done it pretty much the whole time he's been on YouTube. There's a reason why Rich doesn't do his exposed podcast anymore. Because Rich only started it up because he thought he was in a real good position and he thought he had gotten rid of most of his namesayers and he felt safe. He felt safe. And then something happened behind the scenes where he didn't feel so safe no more. And then he gave it up. And that was, keep in mind, this is around the same time that he bitching and complaining and he crying to DSP that DSP won't come on his podcast. That's a Mighty D video for you guys who don't know. So there's that. So there's some real fucking problems out here. I'll be honest with you as it pertains to that. You can't say the shit that Wings has said and not think that he's not pedophilic or whatever. See, you can't say You can't say shit like that and not expect people to not think something. You know what I mean? Do I think he's stupid? Yeah. Do I think he lies a lot? Yeah. You can't hide behind the shock jock nonsense with some of that shit that he said. You can't do that. You can't do that. I can't. I can't do that. He's not some punk ass kid, man. He's a grown ass dude amongst other grown ass dudes. With that being said, if you're gonna go at Wings for everything he said and all that stuff and whatever, you gotta go at Kyle and Woody too. Those guys have said vile shit too. And you wanna know what makes that even worse? They've profited off it. Not only did Woody and Kyle say some vile shit themselves, and they profited off what they said, but they profited off what Wings said. So if you're gonna catch Wings in traffic, you gotta catch those two guys in traffic too. If you don't, then people are gonna suspect something's up. Why go for him over here and not go for him over here? So now you're just gonna open up a whole nother, wormhole of questions with that shit. And don't get me wrong, PKA is a big, massive fucking whale to go after. Their subreddit is nothing to play with. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna go in there and if you're gonna go to war, be ready to die behind that. So I understand that. I'm just saying what I'm just saying what a normie would say. Oh, well, you said Wings said this, and you said he said it on this show. Well, those shows are still available over there on Woody's channel. If I go and watch enough of that shit, I'm gonna catch Woody and Kyle saying some fucking weirdo shit, or some creepy shit, or whatever. You gotta go at them too. Matter of fact, let me give you guys a little bit of lore. Back in the day, way back in the day, this is back when Woody was still heavy in the Call of Duty community. He used to do these watch streams where he would watch I can't remember what service it was, but it was in its infancy. But he was paid to do these watch shows, right? Where he would watch shows with his family there. And you couldn't see the show, so you had to kind of watch it along with his family, and then you could see the response, right? Well, at the time, I can't remember how old his daughter was, but she was young. She might have been maybe 15, maybe? I don't know. She was young at that time. And they would do these watch parties and stream or whatever, and there were a bunch of pedophiles in fucking Woody's fucking chat commenting about his daughter in what I would obviously consider a very inappropriate fucking way. And what happened? Woody let it go because that was the majority of his viewership. I don't know if they were donating at the time, but they made a large amount. They made up a large portion of his viewership, which made him more lucrative to the whatever service he was partnered with at the time. Now, am I saying that Woody initially started off to have his daughter get exploited like that? No. But he saw those comments. He saw what they said about her. It was a long time until that shit stopped. Actually, let me go further. That goes back. If you guys really know your Call of Duty lore, you know what this is, because you can bring in El Prezador and 402 Thunder into this shit. In one of those same watch parties, Woody's son, I think his name is Colin. He has a disability, right? He has a disability, and he was jerking off the family dog. I don't think he meant to. I don't think he was sitting there, purposely looking to give the dog a good time. But he was rubbing the dog's belly. He rubbed a little too low, whatever, and essentially he jerked the dog off on one of these watch parties or whatever. El Prezador saw it and laughed about it in a 402 Thunder video, because they were doing collabs and shit, right? They were a bunch of them playing together or whatever. And Woody's gamer tag went after El Prez, but Prez was strong back in those days, so he ended up going at 402 Thunder and tried to play the moral angle. Hey, you have a kid. Hey, you're married. Hey, you're a firefighter. How are you going to sit there and joke about a kid, this, that, and third? And if you watch that video, which no longer exists, by the way, 402 Thunder took it down. It was really just El Prez talking about this situation and kind of laughing at it and just being surprised that this should happen. No one 402 Thunder didn't say anything about that. He didn't even know it was in the video until the video came out. So if we're going to talk about outrage, if we're going to talk about bad situations or whatever, trust me, Woody has a lot in his closet. Woody has a whole shitload in his closet. Like, another example, what about that kid, and he was just a kid, who went sat there and spent $10,000 to get into one of Woody's Minecraft servers, and Woody didn't want to give the money back. And a whole fucking outrage in the community happened, and then Woody eventually gave it back, but he fought it. What about that nonsense? And I'm just giving you small tidbits that I remember. It can go deeper if you look. So trust me, there's a lot of fuckboy shit out there if you really want to look for it. But that's neither here nor there. As it pertains to the situation with Jay, he was sitting there saying that he was like, yo, I don't want to throw a 6-year fucking relationship away. The fuck you mean? Rich already did it. Rich called you a parasite. So guess how long he felt like that? Guess how many times has Rich spoken to someone privately about you, Jay? How many times has he sat there and ran your ass out? Now that I think about it, for some of these detractors and whatnot that are cool with Rich, I wonder how many times he ain't talk shit about you too. What makes you any different? If Jay was frontlining for him, like with that Griffin Games interview over the Travis thing, if Jay was the one putting in work and whatnot on the streams to bring in money so Rich can sit there and take care of his kid, because the main channel wasn't popping, because the main channel's dead, essentially. You know what I'm saying? Quantum TV did a good job of doing that shit. Jay did a lot for Rich, more than even I would want to admit. And you call that man a parasite? And you said that he extorted you and your family? And Jay, you feel the need to fight for that? You feel the need to stand on that? Jay, there's two different types of people in the world. Doormats or matadors. Which one are you? Because that don't look good, man. That don't look good at all. Especially, Jay, after what you saw him do to Hogan. So you knew what was coming. You may have thought it wasn't going to happen to you, but you knew it was going to come. That was going to eventually come up on you. Now you know what Rich really feels about you, and you want to keep the friendship going? For what? There is no friendship. He used you. Yeah, I understand, Race. I know most people don't care. Yeah, a lot of people don't care about Rich. And for good reason. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how long until it happens to y'all? And now I'm hearing that people want to give Rich a pass because, oh, well, Rich has a lot of mental problems and whatnot. Rich isn't in the right mind space right now, this, that, and the third. No one told him to suck down edibles instead of being a man and facing the world for what it is. There's nothing harder out there than life. If he's not man enough to handle it, and he wants to sit in his fucking man cave all day while his parents sit there and handle his responsibilities, that's on him. But if he puts that shit out on the internet, he's open game. But now it seems like people don't have the stomach for it. Now people are like, oh, I don't really feel like going after Rich anymore. He's just getting a lot of problems and shit. I don't think I really want to do that. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. But keep that same energy when Rich turns around and decides to expose all you guys. Make sure that you keep that same energy you have right now about Rich isn't worth my time. He's going through a lot of problems, this, that, and the third. You keep that same energy when he come out talking shit about y'all. You keep that same energy. Because Rich already has all y'all pegged as bitches. I'm not calling y'all bitches. He's calling y'all bitches. He's the one that told all y'all to suck his dick and all this bullshit. When some of y'all wanted to go ahead and get smoke, he ain't sat there and ducked all y'all. And now Jay gets fucked. And this is the reason why Rich was able to fly under the radar for as long as he did. All those people who were willing to stand up to him, he tried to take them down. Everybody else, they fell back. Now what? Now what? So all this time that people try to prop up Rich and say, yeah, well, Rich isn't as bad as DSP, this, that. No, he's just as bad as Rich. Rich made the same mistakes DSP did. He just did it in a different way. And he was able to hide it a little bit better. And everybody knows this. Well, not everybody. Everybody knows this. Well, not everybody. You know what I mean? He could be. Actually, I'm gonna say yes because he's watched clearly child pornography multiple times or whatnot, and has boasted about it proudly in the past. You can't tell me there isn't something wrong with that, to be honest. Now, in this day and age, people will just call him a weirdo and kind of brush that off and whatever the case may be, which they have the right to do so, to be honest. But he's not someone that I'd feel comfortable having kids around whatsoever. Not at all. That's just not gonna work for me. That's just not gonna work for me, to be honest. But then again, I'm not in a fucking business relationship with that dude or any of that shit. It is what it is. I'm sorry that he's the product of corn pulling country pussy. That's not my problem. That's not my fault. I don't care that there was too much swamp water in his drinking water or whatever the case may be. And that whole situation on why Wings left school when he did has more to do, it has to be more than him being bullied. I don't know what he did, nor will I make any assumptions of it here. But whatever it was that he did was far more than him just getting bullied. That's for sure. So it is what it is. Oh yeah, that Presidor's the man. Back in the day, this was, well, people still do it, but Woody had a Minecraft server, which he was one of the first people to do it, and it's really popular. And it was like $10 to get in, or whatever the case may be, right? It wasn't a lot. Can't remember what it was, but it was cheap to get in. But if you got like 10,000 people giving you $10, do the math. The kid put too many zeros or whatever the fuck. He was just probably really excited that his mother or his father or whatever gave him a credit card or gave him access to get in, and he put in too many goddamn zeros. That's not uncommon either. That's happened to a bunch of other YouTubers. And guess what? Each one of them got the response. You know, the kid tried to reach out to him. Hey, I made a mistake on this, that, and the third. My parents are freaking out. Can you please help me? Okay, let me find your name. Oh, goddamn, dude. you gave me this much? I'll give it back. No problem. No problem. And they did it. He didn't. Woody didn't. 10 grand. Now, don't be wrong. 10 grand's a lot. But Jesus fucking Christ, he's just a kid. He's just a kid. And Woody wasn't dealing with heavy trolling back then, to where he thought, oh, well, you just tried to fuck me over, I'm keeping this money. And Woody still hears shit about that to this very day. It was a mistake. He was a kid, and it was a mistake. Just give him the fucking money back. And eventually he did. But for a while he was fighting that shit. And it was stupid. It was fucking stupid. He was just a kid. He was just a kid. So that's neither here nor there. But yeah, there's stuff that because I've seen some of those compilations. There's stuff right there that in my mind I can't shake off and be like, oh, Wings is just retarded. Nah, not at all. You know what I'm saying? Now, can I sit here and tell you he sought that stuff out? I don't know. But I do know is that he's spoken about it enough and he's watched enough of it and went into detail on what he saw that makes me not know. He'd have a hard time debating me on that. That's for damn sure. That's for damn sure. And whatnot. Not everything that every lolcow says is a lie, and yet at the same time you can't say everything they say is the truth either. So it is what it is. But as it pertains to Rich, and then we'll move on, Rich has been a piece of shit though. That's the thing. So all these people that are around him or whatever, if you're doing it to raise your own profiles or whatever the case may be, you know, so be it. But understand that Rich will get you in the end. He's done it to everybody else, and what makes any of you different. And here's the thing that's really crazy to me. When he fucked over Jay like that and justified it and all this shit, the fact that people still defend Rich blows my fucking mind. That blows my goddamn mind. I don't give a fuck what that dude's mental state is. He doesn't mind commenting on other people and their mental state. Here, use myself as the example, right? Because I'm your favorite detractor's least favorite detractor. If I came out here and said, yo, shots fired on everybody in the detractor community can get it. Tevin, Theo, Snorpernell, Agent Proper, James the Lesser, Ann Lee, fucking Piece of Peace, whatever. If I went ahead and I took shots at all of those cats, do any of you right now in chat or watching this later on are gonna sit there and say, damn man, is GTG alright? Yo, should we reach out to him and see what's up with that dude? Yo, what's up with that shit? Or you're gonna be like, well, what the fuck is that dude's problem? What those guys ever do to him? Nah, B, maybe that dude need to get the fuck up off the internet and touch grass. Maybe he need to get his mind right before he come up here and he start wilding out on people who, as far as we know, didn't do anything to him. Where is that response for Jay? Where is that response for Jay? And don't be wrong, I don't fuck with Jay like that. Because when Griffin Games went up there and called Rich out on that bullshit with that Melanie Mac nonsense and that shit with Travis and all that bullshit, don't get me wrong, I'm no simp. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Jay ran interference knowing damn well that Rich was dead wrong about that shit he said. That Rich said. I can't hold to that. And then when Jay admitted recently that he lied for Rich, which he's probably lied for him more than once, I can't stand on that either. But I don't think Jay deserved that type of treatment. I don't think he deserved that. To sit there and call another person, let alone another man who stood up to allow your dumb ass to be a man. You're gonna call him a parasite? You're gonna call him a parasite? For real? Alright. That's actually a fair point. Phil got mental issues. Phil has a shitload of mental issues. And people have no problem with that. But here's the thing though too. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up. People really don't like to admit that DSP has mental problems. People want to go ahead and contribute that to him and his usual bad behavior. Instead of which some of it can be contributed to that. But DSP has a whole lot fucking wrong with him too. And you're seeing more and more of it. And I heard that little situation he had where when John he came out there to do content with me, he was collecting a paycheck. Cat's my wife. First things first, what you trying to say? You trying to say John Rambo was your hoe or something and he only came out there for money, even though you were never paying John on the up and up anyway. If you guys have followed me for any period of time, you know where I'm going with this. John was like, hey, my car is getting fucked up because of all the wear and tear, because it's like a 3-hour drive round trip for him. Hey, throw me some cash every time I come out here and I'll help you with whatever your endeavor is. DSP says, oh, well, I was going to give him like $100 or whatever the fuck. And DSP was like, or DSP said I was willing to offer him $300 or whatever the bullshit was. And John said, yo, give me $100 every time I come out, because he was coming out there like twice a week anyway. And DSP just left at it. Why didn't you just give him the $300 if that was your man? If that was your friend, and if you knew he was in a tough spot because when he's not working, he's hanging out with you, why not just give him the $300 off the rip? If John says, hey, give me $100 every time I come out, we'll be good. Hey man, how about I just give you $300 a week? How do you feel about that? That's an extra $100. You know what I'm saying? And that should have been the wrap. That should have been an easy situation for everybody. He didn't want to do that. And then you ain't relegated your wife to being a fucking employee, which clearly she is, but clearly she don't want to do the content, or she don't want to do it with you, or whatever the case may be. So what the fuck? So trust me, these lol cows, they have a history of fucking over people that are close to them. They have a history of doing that. So if you're a detractor, troll, hater, or critic, what makes you exempt? And what do you think you're going to get out of Rich anyway? This dude doesn't have any credibility. He doesn't have any credibility in the tech field. He doesn't have any credibility in the fucking commentator community. He has nothing. That's why he's boxed onto his little streaming channel, and he lets detractors pay him so he can watch their videos and shit. Which was no different than what Steel Toe was doing. Theoretically. So what's the difference? You know what I mean? And that goes back to the thing with Wings. If you're gonna go at Wings, you're gonna have to go at these other guys too. If we're gonna sit here and shit on DSP for his low-cal behavior, we're gonna give Rich a pass? Or we're gonna let Rich slide? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all I'm saying. Oh, and that's another fucked up thing too. And actually, not what Anthony said, but it makes me think. You remember that computer, that PC that Rich was trying to offer DSP? You know, the one with the thread ripper and everything that even I said that DSP should have taken it. It was a free computer, all he had to do was pay for shipping. That computer goes to Jay. But then Rich turns around and says, oh, well, Jay said he needs all this money, but he did all these upgrades to this PC. Where'd all this money magically come from? What the fuck? And see, and I hate to admit this, but that's what DSP was trying to avoid. And yet, and actually, funny enough, I think I said that in the video that DSP was scared that Rich was going to hold that PC over his head because Rich has a habit of doing shit like that. And what happened? He did the same thing to Jay. He did the exact same goddamn thing to Jay. Boy. Boy. Yeah, we're kind of still working on that super chat thing, kinda. We're thinking about actually doing buy me a coffee, because like you can literally do like a one-time thing on it. It's still in the works. It's still in the works. To go back to what you said, it's still in the works for sure. Yeah, exactly. Just don't give Wings the opportunity. Don't give the Wings the opportunity. That's all. But that's my thoughts on the thing with Wings. And truth be told, that conversation between Local Live and 007, that should have been a one-on-one with Wings and 007. That's what that should have been. That should have been a one-on-one between those two. Truth be told. Like, Keem obviously just wanted to get him in there, and I don't know if he wanted to make light of him or what, but that's what that is. Why? Wings has nothing else. Wings could do nothing but lie. Because 007 caught him in some lies up there. He really did. And that's why, and truth be told, even if Keem had any confidence in Wings going into that confidence was shaken after that exchange. Right? Because there's some stuff up there that Keem didn't know about, and Wings was quick to say, no, deny, like most locals do. And then he ends up admitting it later. Or you took it out of context and this, that, and the third. You don't say as much crazy shit as Wings has said and not mean it. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole shock jock, I did it for the show type thing. It doesn't really make sense to me. But then this is where I'm going to throw Kyle and Woody into the wood chipper. If those were your peoples, why would they let you say that shit? Because here, let me give you an example. If I was in like Gentlemen's Club, right? If you follow me for any period of time, you know what that is. It's kind of like a joint podcast that me and Agent Proper bounce back and forth with. But at one time, there was me, Agent Proper, Declan Reed, big ups to both of those guys. And we had Dante Crisis on there once too. Or actually maybe twice. Had some really good conversations when I missed that. Here's the thing. I didn't know any of those guys super crazy back then. Like, no pun, big up super crazy. But I didn't know them like super well back in those days or whatever. But I definitely was like in a cordial, speaking type arrangement with those dudes. If I tried to come up with any type of crazy ass topic like that, whether those guys know me well or not, I feel like they would at least have enough respect for me, or at least for my well-being, or for whatever it is that we're doing, to be like, hey, I'm not cool with that. I'm not down with that. You don't talk about that. And that's not anything to feel a certain type of way about. If that's the case, then that's the case. And I can respect that and move off of it. I don't know anybody who thinks like that. I don't know, nor have I met anybody who jokes around like that. You know what I'm saying? Which is one of the big emphasis that 007 should have focused in on. Hey, Wings or Jordy, who do you know who jokes like that? Tell me. Is it that uncle who used to drop the N-word all the time and had that one black dog that he called stationary? Was it one of your peoples that you grew up? Give me somebody. It's stuff like that that you need to isolate, right? And you need to go ahead and put pressure on. Because I literally don't know anybody who moves like that. And if I did, I wouldn't be around them. Because you can't be around people like that. Because that works against my sensibilities. I very much looking forward to be a parent one day. I don't need that element around me, nor my family. That won't do. And like I said, where I'm from, and people that I know, people like that, they don't last very long. Especially if it's confirmed. Like you've been arrested, it's on your jacket, they can prove it. People like that don't last very long. And I'm not saying that to boast, that's the reality. So if something happens to Wings one night, and God forbid Kelly, you have to be ready to stand on that. You can say whatever you want. Hey, I apologize, what happened, this, that, and the third, but you know, if you really feel like he's a pedophile and you're willing to put that stamp on his ass, you gotta be ready what comes with it. Because if you look at Wings trolls, right? You had a lot of guys who were willing to step over that tightrope to fuck with him. You could easily have someone who doesn't even know who Wings is, who has a real problem with pedophiles, or with people who hurt children. Let's just say that instead of calling them a pedophile, people who hurt children or have the intention of hurting children. You have people who will stand on business for that. Oh, is this guy really about that? Okay, where could I find him? Because some people don't even care about proof. It's just about, oh, really? He really about that? You sure? Okay, where can I find him? Go back to if you want proof of that on a much larger scale, look at that bullshit East Coast, West Coast shit we had all those fucking years ago and shit. You thought motherfuckers were really reading headlines of The Source and Vibe magazine and all that bullshit? No, they saw this against this, what side are you on? That mentality hasn't left. People aren't any more civilized than back then. And what happened when that shit fell off and when that shit ended the way it did? People wanted to look at who was putting the headlines out there, who was talking about it, and more importantly, who was profiting. So you got to be willing to stand behind that stuff if you really are willing to go for it. But more importantly, like I said, the argument needs to change. The argument has to change. Like that situation with Cyrax, right? Like clearly Cyrax is a fucking pedophile. That no one's gonna argue that. Now I remember hearing somebody saying that 00 exposed that. If I remember correctly, Music Business Marty and a bunch of other guys had already proven that long before. But whatever. The point being is that there's a difference with that. Like Cyrax is clearly on that type of time, and he's clearly on that type of level, and sooner or later someone's gonna get him. Sooner than later. You want to know what the difference is though between Cyrax though and Wings? Cyrax looks the part. When you think of someone who hurts children, you think of the worst possible fucking thing that walks this planet, right? You think of the what kind of fucking piece of garbage that fucking exists, you know what I'm saying? And that's what that would look like. That's why when everybody looks at DSP as a failure, as a loser, as incompetent, as all of those things, DSP looks the part. You think him having his piss-stained Zelda jammies with his brand new adult shirt changes that? No. That's like washing under his armpits and not washing anything else. He's still a piece of garbage. The thing is with Cyrax is he looks the part. Wings looks like just some fucking idiot on the internet who's been on the internet too goddamn long. And that's what you have to fight. You have to make your words fit the part. Why do you think there are so many people that can come in and do DSP content and become, if not successful, because whatever you judge success on, and can hold relevancy or become relevant or whatever compared to these other circles? It's hard to break into another one of these circles and actually get some traction. DSP is literally your gateway. He may be the king of the lolcows, but he's also a gateway lolcow. He's basically someone that anybody can come in and talk about and can get some views off of. Here's the problem with that. Sometimes we champion people just because they make DSP content and you don't really know who that person is. You don't know what their values and shit are. That's why that's why people are dealing with fucking Rich the way we're dealing with Rich now. Just because what? He has a large platform and he's been ragging on DSP for a number of years. He's been sucking DSP's dick for a number of years too. But we're gonna ignore that though, yeah? Well, that doesn't fit into our narrative right now, right? Okay, I'm just asking. Yeah, Rich definitely made himself look bad in that Travis argument. That shit was dumb. And it was a fight that wasn't even needed, because if you think about how that whole argument started, right? Initially, he was kissing Side Scroller's ass. He was kissing their ass. But as soon as that whole situation with Melanie Mac or whatever, if Rich wanted to have a disagreement with it, you could have had a disagreement about it. See, what Rich wants though, is when he says something, he immediately wants everybody to basically get on his side about it, because he feels that's his power. And when he got even the smallest bit of pushback, he acted like a fucking asshole. And look at what happened to him after the fact. He sounded like a fucking idiot. You had people running around here calling him homophobic and all this other stuff. He did no favors for himself. At all. And that's why he spends all day jumping around online looking for the next thing. It's fucking crazy. Yeah, I agree. Okay, here, actually, you bring up a fantastic point with the Eric Miller situation. He was dead wrong for going after all these different people and shit, even though he was clearly only going after one person. He clearly only had his sights on one guy. You know what I'm saying? He wanted Duty. Duty was the one that he had the criticisms about. I don't know why he took shots at all those dudes. I have no fucking clue. I don't have not a goddamn clue on why he did that. I will also say this. Duty was wrong too. Because Duty made a video and he said, this is the one time I'm going to address this. I don't know what his problem is. I don't know what this is. Yada, yada, yada. And it's unnecessary and it's unfortunate, but this is the last thing I have to say about it. And what happened after that? Then the boys came out and they said they peaced. That's understandable. And then Duty kept making videos. And then all of a sudden, Duty wants to turn him into a lol cow. And then you saw all that nonsense go on. Then people looked at everybody in that group and looked at them suspect. Like, wait a second, what are you guys What are you guys really doing? Like, what are you guys really doing? Okay, if you want to write Eric off, write him off. But what is all this extra shit? And then Duty goes on, that being said, and they hit him for some of the same points Eric Miller did. The difference was, it wasn't what they said, it was how they said it. And Duty basically fessed up to everything. He didn't change. He's still, as far as I see, he's still doing it the same way he was doing it before then. But they called him out on pretty much all the same shit that Miller did. So don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Miller is exempt of anything. What I'm saying is that whole situation was handled poorly. If Miller wanted to take shots at Duty, he should have just taken shots at Duty. When Duty sat up there and said, as a man, this is the last, I'm going to address him one and done, and that's it, he should have been able to hold to that. And then when he went on, that being said, they caught him for the exact same shit, and he still, nothing's changed. So what good is your word then? So trust me, that whole situation was handled poorly. And people don't look at the long-term ramifications of that. It's open Crosby on any detractor at any given time with that. That's what that turns into. That's what that opened the gate to. There was already enough infighting going on. But now, it's basically saying everybody's fair game. That whole situation with Miller should have been a one-on-one conversation. Now, allegedly, Duties did have that. He did try to talk to him, find out what was going on. Miller gave him the runaround or whatever the fuck. But that's not something that should have happened publicly. That should have been handled behind the scenes, man to man. Excuse me. Instead, it really just makes it out to be, hey, truth be told, anybody can be a lolcow. But what it really shows is that anybody can get it. And then it got to the point where people didn't even want to really say anything because they didn't want to be on the other end of it. That right there leads into fucking SOK all over again. Damn near. I mean, there's probably a lot of guys you could take shots at and no one would give a shit. You know what I'm saying? There's been plenty, well, I don't know how public that was, but there was a lot of people who took shots at me. There's a shitload of people who took shots at me. There was people who took shots at me, and there were other people who came out and defended me, and they didn't have to. I appreciate it, don't get me wrong, but they didn't have to, and there was no point in putting themselves at risk over something that I said or I did. So, So don't be wrong about the Miller thing. Miller definitely handled that wrong, but the other side of that handled that wrong too. It's not even just detractors though. Like, and I've been trying to tell ProleteR this. In girl world, there's all kinds of fuck shit going on in girl world. If you think, okay, and I've tried to tell, I know I've told ProleteR this, I've told James this, I've told Jackal this, I've told a couple of people this. What SOK did was merely a blueprint. That's all it was. It was the blueprint of what people do now. All people, like when you go into some of these other communities or whatever and you see them start doing ops on each other, and it all starts like the same way like the Miller shit does. Someone just has a different opinion about someone else. They didn't do it in the right way. Maybe they just shouldn't have done it to that person, whatever. And the shit that happens afterwards gets nuts. Like, as I've been trying to say with Girl World, we're doxing each other's kids. This is how shit has gotten to now. This is how it's gotten to now. Or this is where it is now. That we're getting to the point where, you know what? I've already gotten at you as hard as I can, and you're still not going to stop. I'm going after you. I'm going to dox your kids now. I'm going to dox their school. I'm going to dox their teachers. Like, it's getting wild like that. It's on that type of time over there. And it doesn't look like it's ever going to stop. Like, shit's crazy, dude. Like, shit's really getting crazy out there. Like, it gets really, really wild. And people build alliances with other people, and they drop all the time. Like, I'm not saying everybody in Girl World is bad, because it's not the case. Just like not everybody in the track community is bad. I'm sure not everybody in the Wings community and the Cobra community and everybody else. You're going to have bad apples no matter what, right? What I'm saying is that shit's getting real. And remember, you guys may not remember this, but a few years ago, people wanted fucking results over here, right? You wanted DSP to be held to task, and in some degree, we didn't care how it happened, right? And so if we have to go ahead and get his financial records, if we have to sit there and scrutinize his bankruptcy, whatever the case may be, whatever it takes to prove, to get DSP pinned to something, whatever it takes is whatever it fucking takes. Well, other communities have already been on that time. And now, as you see in the DSP community, you got people that are kind of pulling back off it now, because now it's like, wait a second, it's not fun anymore. It's not fun anymore to sit there and speculate on what this dumbass does and then just let him hang himself. Now we want evidence. Well, now people are willing to go to links to get that evidence. And most of it's gonna kind of be illegal. You're gonna have to get into the dirt. And don't get me wrong, I'm part of the problem when it comes to that propagation, or that not propagation, but propaganda, because obviously I'm speaking on it, so I'm contributing to the problem. But I don't want nobody to go to jail over this shit. I don't want nobody to go to jail over this shit. You know what I mean? I don't want anybody to fuck up their life to prove DSP is a piece of garbage when we already know that. But that's what the bar is requiring. That's what's required now. It's getting to the point where if you really want the bacon off DSP's back, you're going to have to bleed a little bit to get it. Well, in these other communities, they're all in. It's a dead pool over there. All these different people are exposed for all this different shit. People are cutting each other up at a moment's notice. Shit's wild, bro. Oh, actually, I'm glad you brought that up, Silent Weapon. That situation with Jay is Rich and Big Cheese all over again because it sounds like it's all over money. That's supposed to be your man. You shouldn't be letting a little bit of money, a couple of thousand or whatever it is. I don't want to downplay Jay's work or whatever, or his value. But it sounds like it's only over a few $1,000s a month. And we're willing to fuck over friendships, call people parasites, call this, that, and the third over it. The moment Jay stepped up to be a bigger man than you, so you could go to the hospital and handle your kid and whatnot, make that make sense to me. Make that make sense. He went ahead and put in the time to make sure that your kids could have food on their table, and more importantly, so you could have the money to take care of your daughter's treatment. And that, you're gonna turn around and say that man extorted you and he's a parasite? All right then. All right then. Agreed. Agreed about that property, for sure. I agree. The Wings trolls, like a lot of trolls, to be honest with you, they do have good points. They do have good points. But it's when you're trying to convey it to an audience that you're not familiar with, you can't approach it the way you would approach what you're doing, like what you're already doing. You can't do that. You have to change up. That's like that thing I say about DSP, right? Like the way DSP does anything is the way he does everything. As a detractor, troll, hater, critic of whatever community that you're in, you can't approach a normie or someone who's not in your bubble the same way you would with somebody who's in your bubble. You just can't do that. You'll never get anything get anything over. You're not preaching to the choir. You're preaching to someone else who's just passing by the congregation. You know what I'm saying? And that's really what it comes down to, man. That's really what it comes down to. I like this name. Wolverine fanboy 1 2 3 4. Big ups. That's a good name. No, I didn't actually go over the Ravens Dolphin thing. I haven't seen enough of it yet. I've seen some of the fallout though, but I haven't seen all that yet. No, I have not. I have not seen that yet. Oh shit. Oh yeah, 13 I thought it was like 1316 killer or 1316 clown killer or whatnot. But look at how that situation happened. Like, look at what he did to that. Actually, Rich did dox that guy where he was at, and he threatened one of his trolls with doxing their kid. So I mean, like I said, so Rich is nobody to be given. No, he's just not someone to be given the benefit of the doubt to. Just not. That's just not the play. That is not the play. Big ups. So. Yes, actually, I did see the thing about the steel toe in the in that situation, that hot tub thing, and that goes back to shit. I kind of want to do a segment on that. not on the hot tub thing, because that was just sad, to be honest with you. But Rich on Nick Rekieta's decline, like it's a sad thing to watch, because I'm not sure if you guys saw it, but Medicare and Worski were speaking about that the other night. They brought up some really good points, but even I didn't realize how good Nick had it back in the day with the trial coverage and everything. I didn't realize how big that could have been, you know, because I watch Emily Baker too, and she's a real big fish over there. And but I didn't think, you know, Nick, the way Nick breaks it all down, it made it a lot like Emily Baker. It makes it digestible, you know, and it makes it somewhat easy to understand. And Nick won't do it because of, I guess, time constraints or whatever the case may be. But it's unfortunate, though. It's unfortunate what that guy had and where he's at now. You know, you're fighting with people on kiwi farms because they have an opinion of you and stuff. And actually, right here, Oathkeeper, I don't condone that whatsoever with doxing people or whatever it was that Miller was allegedly trying to do. That's the first time I've heard of that. But I don't condone that either, at all. Just over a fucking argument on YouTube? Not me. We're not doing that. Yeah, Rekieta fell hard. He fell hard as shit. And it's unfortunate too, but it just goes to show the person we saw, the Nick Rekieta that was presented to us and who he really is are two separate people. And I think a lot of us on the internet forget that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know how I don't mind calling you guys I'm an asshole and all this, that, and the third? I mean it when I say that and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to give you guys some type of misgivings or whatever the case may be. Hey, man, I like to laugh, joke around, this, that, and the third, or whatever. Certainly, but don't think I can't be a dick either. I don't want to, not that I don't want to, I don't have a problem interacting with people and people disagreeing with me, because that's what you expect. When I come on stream, some of you are going to have some things that you're going to say about me, whether you like me or not, whether you agree with me or disagree with me. That's a good thing. You know what I'm saying? You need that. You need to have that type of interaction. I don't need everybody to be cool with me. I don't need everybody to like me. I don't need anybody to like me, to be honest with you. At the end of the day, I like me. I'm okay with who I am. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm just putting my opinion out there. If you're cool with it, cool. If you're not, then you're not. It's no worries. I'm not going to hold that against you. It's when you come up here and you start being like, and you want to be an asshole about it, then you know, I'm just going to meet your level of asshole with that level of asshole. But if you disagree with me and you have a point behind it, then by all means, I can live off that. I can move with that. Yeah, the FFG thing is crazy, or is wild. It's really, really wild. But it's entertaining though too, and that's the reason why FFG holds the crown, because she knows how to get at Chantel in just the right way. And she knows how to piss off the opposition, which are people that are in her fucking sector, if you will, and to keep her name in their mouth. But at the same time though too, as much as I enjoy FFG, she's not immune to it. No one is. You know what I'm saying? You get enough criticism, it's gonna beat you down. You know what I'm saying? It's how you handle it. It's how you handle yourself when you get back up is really going to be the test to your character. Right now, she hasn't fallen yet, but if she ends up like here, let's go back deep in the girl world in Hater Nation. If she handles the situation the way Charlie Gold did, then she's going to crash and burn. Because I just heard Chantel recently said she gave up on calling FFG a goblin, right? Which is some type of slur or something against Jews if you're using it against someone who's Jewish or whatever. She now wants to give that up because, you know, oh, I knew it was bad, but now I'm ready to give it up, whatever. She should have done that against Charlie Gold. I can't remember who it was, but some racist came out of nowhere and came up with the term Charlie Gold, had a fucking avatar of Harambe, and was basically equating Charlie Gold to a monkey and all this bullshit, and doing it publicly. And Chantel was backing her up publicly. Chantel was dumb. And then Chantel was like, oh, I was dating a black man. I was sleeping with a black man. How can I be racist? Last time I checked, slave owners had their way with their slaves too. So you can make of that what you will. But if Chantel was smart and let that shit go with Charlie Gold all those years, she wouldn't have necessarily the stigma of her being a racist now. And she never grew the fuck up. Oh, she never grew the fuck up. Yeah, I remember when DSP's neighbors were in the line of fire. I certainly do. I do remember that. And I agree, and I agree. Well, I'm not sure if you're speaking to me directly, but you're right. A few A-logs doesn't mean the entire community. I agree with that 100%. Yes, but I mean, the Comcast thing was funny. It was legitimately funny. It was just when he outed himself, it didn't make no damn sense. Like, why would you do that? You know what I'm saying? Don't be wrong. What he did was clearly the intermittently cutting his internet on and off is on some funny shit. Him fucking around with DSP's payment information was when he went too far. To be honest, that served no real purpose that I saw. And then he just outed himself because he was planning on quitting later anyway, or whatever. I don't know. It just didn't make any sense. DSP should definitely have some legal charges against his ass for sure. Absolutely. There's a lot of shit that DSP deserves to get pinned down for, and he probably should serve some jail time, not prison. He's not built for either one, honestly. But yeah, there's definitely some stuff that legally he should be fucking taking the task for. But I also understand. I also understand what our situation is. Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like he's not gonna take a hit legally, I should say, for anything that he's done. And so that's why so much of us are enthralled with this nonsense on the internet, because this is where it really hurts. You know what I'm saying? He can't make anything stick legally because he's tried, obviously, especially with YouTube. You don't think if Chantel and Amberlynn Reed and KingCobraJFS, each one of them have admitted to daily reporting on their haters and trolls and shit like that, you don't think DSP is not above that? You don't think Wings is not above that? You don't think Rich is not above that? Rich has done it too. Just like Monday Matt did it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? People are people. But this is the only way people can take the task. Yeah, I saw her dominance last night was fan-fucking-tastic, dude. Holy shit. Such a great character. And going back to all those matches that DSP had against her, it makes sense. It really does. There's not enough people out there that have enough character experience against her, and that chick just has a lot of really good tools. Yeah, absolutely. You definitely can't, and I'm not asking to control anybody's things or whatnot. Like, you're gonna go out there, you're gonna say what you're gonna say. Just be ready to stand behind it and whatnot. That's all it really comes down to. Sitting there getting mad at people because they disagree with what you say is just it don't make no sense to me, dude. It don't make no sense to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? There are people that I'm cool with here that don't agree with everything that I say. You know what I'm saying? I have long conversations with ProleteR, for example, and whatnot. He doesn't disagree. He doesn't agree with everything that I say, nor did I agree with everything that he says. You know what I'm saying? But we find some common ground, and, you know, it gives me something to kind of think about. But that's definitely not something to fucking to, you know, break a friendship up over or anything. Are you talking about the Misery Merchant? Are you talking about the Clementine shit where she had to stitch up that, I'm pretty sure it was like a dog wound or something, and she was in the shed and she was trying to stitch it up and DSP was fucking orgasming over it? Yeah, that's a big problem. That's you know what? Give me a second. Give me a second. I'm actually willing to chase this. Let me see if I can find that. I am willing to chase that. Let's see here. Here, let me raise this for you guys and give me just a second. I'm really surprised. I'm really surprised no one actually has that. Anybody has that isolated down to a single clip? Huh. I know I've seen it. I know I've seen that somewhere. Not recently, but I know I've seen it. I'll keep looking as we're talking. Yeah, that clip is everything wrong with that situation. That shit was crazy. That was a crazy clip. Like you'd be hard pressed to find anybody who heard that clip and be able to excuse that. You'd have a hard time finding someone that could excuse that. That was an ugly clip. Jesus Christ. Oh no, wait a second. Oh shit, it went through. Holy shit. Oh boy, I thought I fucked that script up. So if I write an additional, I can literally just code that in. Oh snap. Okay, I am very happy about that. Okay, bet. Sorry chat. I'm very, very happy on how that played out. Let's see. Let's go back to the chat. Let's see what the chat's talking about. How long until the divorce saga? No, probably not anytime soon. To be honest. Like, Kat's gonna have to wake up one day and want to change, and I don't see that happening. She's clearly not happy with where she's at in life, but not enough to where she wants to get up and change. Because that's the hardest thing in the world, yeah? Getting up and starting something. That's the biggest problem. My thing is, and I've been really thinking about this, as it pertains to all those doctor visits or whatever, and I've been meaning to run this by ProleteR, and I still will, I'll do it later. Given how she put on so much weight so quickly, I wonder what kind of, I'm not saying she's sleeping with a CPAP or anything, but she clearly has medical issues that are going to need to address, need to be addressed. So I would assume a lot of those doctor visits are for her. To be honest with you, you don't put on that much weight that quickly and not have repercussions behind that. That's for damn sure. Let's see here. Yeah, that Etika situation. That Etika situation was definitely a thing. As long as he continues to keep her comfortable, she may never even question it, which is kind of weird, to be honest with you. But see, that also makes me believe that she doesn't actually contribute any money to the pot, because if not, reasonably so, she would I would think she'd have more questions about the income or what their income actually looks like if she actually had to put in on it. But that's just my opinion, of course. Ooh, that's actually a good question. Do I think Mortal Kombat 1 can be saved? That's a hard one, actually. That's a hard one. It could. I think it could. I think it can be salvaged, but it'll never. At least right now, I have to stand on that, because I honestly believe it. It's not gonna have. It's not gonna have the longevity of like Tekken or Street Fighter 6. To be honest, maybe on the next Mortal Kombat, things could get better if they've learned from the mistakes they've made here. They may be able to salvage this game later on in its life cycle, but it's still never gonna have the hit that Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or Tekken did. You know what I'm saying? Even for die-hard Mortal Kombat fans or whatever, even they have to be fed up with some of the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Mortal Kombat could be like a yearly release, like Call of Duty, it would. That's my thoughts. Oh, Paul, you never seen that? The Telltale part I'm talking about was, it's Telltale's Walking Dead. I don't know exactly what the part is. I'm gonna have to look for it, and we can bring it up on a stream later on. But essentially, there's a scene where, if I remember correctly, it's when Clementine's in the woods and she runs into this dog, right? So the dog's kind of walking, is kind of with her for a minute, and I can't remember if they stumble onto a can of something, can of beans, whatever the case may be, and the dog turns on her for the food or whatever, and ends up causing this huge gash on her arm. So it's bad. So she ends up wandering into a shed, and she has to like stitch it up, and you know, you have to you actually have to follow a path with it, right? You have to do it right or whatever. You can fuck up the stitches too. What DSP did is he purposely fucked up the stitching, the stitching part, or this puzzle part as he would call it. He purposely fucked up the stitches so he could prolong Clementine, his character, her suffering. And it's really, it's just it's a really disturbing thing to watch. It's a really, really stupid, fucked up thing to watch. It really is. Really have so many people not seen it? Alright, hold on, let me see. I'm surprised so many people haven't seen that. I'm really shocked that so many people haven't seen that. They haven't seen that. It's ugly. It's stupid ugly. I wonder if it's in a top 10 worst moments. I'm gonna have to think about that now. It's dumb. It's a really dumb situation. I gotta tell you, it's uncomfortable to watch. Can Wings bounce back? No. No, Wings can't bounce back. He's stuck where he's at, and truth be told, it's just he's better off there. He's better off there. Like, Wings has nothing to gain at this point at all. Even with lolcow Live, if you're not willing to put the work in to make shit happen, then you're useless, and that's all it is. He doesn't want to try to fix his image. He's just looking for another way of sustaining what he has currently. So no, I personally don't think there's any bounce back one. What are your views on me making moves on starting a new forum site? I'm all for it. You already know that. You already know that. I got your back 100% on that shit, to be honest with you. And I think Josh, truth be told, should be behind it too. He shouldn't look at it as competition. He should look at it as choice. He should look at it not even as choice. He should look at it as variety. It's an option. It's a good option. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would he want to hinder progress like that? At the end of the day, you're not asking for people on the forums or the people on Reddit or the people on lolcow or whatever the case may be to leave and come over to your new site. You're just giving them another option, just another place that they can sit down and have a conversation in. That's all I look at it as, and that's all it should be looked at as. It's no different than, oh, I have a problem with Meerkat? Do I have a problem with you? Do I have a problem with any other detractor? No, why would I? Variety is the spice of life, and you should go out there and you should seek out other opinions. Any detractor any detractor who would tell you different than that, then you should look at what their motives are. And I personally haven't heard anybody say that, so it'll be a short search. But I'm all for it. And that's a fair point though too. Emperor, she doesn't have any place to go or any other prospects, which is a shame because you've been there for 5 years and she hasn't grown as a person. And I can't put all of that on DSP, but I can put a lot of it on him. He can take a lot of hits on that. The Argentina saga has been fantastic. It's incredibly fruitful. And what's this about? Supposedly somebody slipped some porn into the reaction content yesterday and whatnot. That's clever. That's clever. But you got to be careful though too, because DSP will skim through that shit. So The fact that he found it doesn't surprise me, to be honest with you. I agree with this too, Anthony, to an extent that I also think that he purposely plumped her up too. But I've been saying that for a while. When he told her that she can't go to the gym anymore, when he fucked up the exercise bike, and then he filled her head up with, there are detractors all over the internet, there's detractors outside, you know what I'm saying? He did everything he can to keep her paranoid and keep her in position. So I can't disregard that for a second. But at the same time though too, I don't know anybody who could even disagree with us on that subject. Look at her. Look at her. You know what I'm saying? Her being that young shouldn't be that heavy. And the other night, she was definitely bored. Well, it wasn't the other night. It was like a week or something ago. She was definitely bored, right? But at the same time, you could tell that her weight is getting the best of her. So, what do you think? What do you think it would take for Kat to change her situation? She needs to realize that what she has. She needs to realize that she has nothing, so she has nothing to lose. You know what I'm saying? If she clearly exercises a bit more control, no pun intended, but she clearly exercises a bit more control than people give her credit for, or people have given her credit for. If she wants to fix her circumstance, meaning she wants to go to the gym and drop the weight, if she wants DSP to take her places, if she has wants, then she needs to pursue them. Period. DSP is he's a deterrent. He's not a barrier. That's what DSP is. He's a deterrent. He's not a barrier. And so he has nothing over her that would make her fold. If she wants it, she should just take it. Agreed. I'm sure. I hope Panda's doing well. But Kat fell into the situation that that DSP did, where she merely just wants to exist and be comfortable. Because I have a theory about Chantel. I'll be brief. But Chantel currently is in Kuwait, and she's just doing mukbangs and shit, and she's basically waiting to die. I'm not going to even sugarcoat it. She's just waiting to die. Right now, all she cares about is trying to get her channel up to 100,000 subs, so it kind of, because she says her YouTube channel is her legacy, and that cements, she thinks that's going to cement her in some type of relevancy on YouTube. And then when she passes away, as inevitably as she's going to, she's already cleared out most of her channel of all the shit that people could use against her that's toxic from her past, quote unquote. And so if she does pass away, she thinks, oh, I wasn't so bad. You know what I'm saying? I didn't, you know, she's going to be saying this from the grave, obviously. But I wasn't so bad. I wasn't as bad as the people who make content on me, you know, and now I'm dead. And she wants it to basically put the blame on her trolls or whatever. And it's not going to work. It doesn't work like that. But she's just waiting to die because she's lost everything. Her family ain't shit. Her family has already given up on her. She's given up on them and all of her friends. She tried to paint out Salah as being this perfect husband or whatever, and he's anything but. And her marriage is a fraud. It's a sham. And she ain't put on all that weight while she was in Kuwait. Rhyming accidentally. She's done. She's done. She has nothing to live for, and she know it. Haven't had sex in ages. That's a problem too. What's your thoughts on the state of Luke and Street Fighter 6? I think Luke has good tools, man. To be frank, I think Luke has some really great tools. And like every other character, he has his problems and shortcomings. You just got to be able to work around it. And I think, you know what I'm saying? Like sooner or later there'll be a breakthrough. You know, but it hasn't even been a year yet. So, you know, new tech is being discovered every day. I thought the cameo gameplay was, I thought it was a neat feature. Maybe it could have been executed differently. I don't know. But I thought it was initially a good idea. actually, Red Knight, you bring up a fantastic question. You bring up a good question, I should say. If Wings of Redemption really is a pedophile, why hasn't he been caught trying to get into underage kids like Cyrix or whatever? He, truth be told, he wouldn't. That's an. Okay. Okay. Holy shit, this is. Now I've actually read it out. It's kind of uncomfortable. Wings doesn't have to. He's already ingested. He's already ingested the material behind it. I get what you're trying to say. Where if after ingesting enough of a material or enough of something, how long until he decides to go out and interact on it? He may never do it. I don't think he has it in him to do it, to be honest. But I will also say is that he still ingested the content, knowing it was wrong, knowing it was problematic, and yet he was still bragging about it as well. You know what I'm saying? And I saw what Keem and Boogie were saying, making the argument that was back in the day. There's all kinds of fucked up things online. I'm sure they're not wrong and whatnot, but what he did was wrong. What he did was out and out wrong. And there's no changing that. Just because he hasn't acted upon it, right? Or he hasn't scooped up, he ain't gone out to Mural Beach or whatever and scooped up some kid or whatever, he still ingested the content. I mean, who's to say what he'll do? But he still ingested the content and then he bragged about it. You know what I'm saying? That's where his problem is. I didn't even know the thing about the dev part. I didn't know that one. I knew about Cyrex, obviously. But I didn't know about I didn't know about that one. I'll have to look that up. But that's my thoughts on that. Yeah, Takin is fun. Takin is fun. Characters are broken though. Characters are broken as shit. Characters are broken as shit. Ladies and gentlemen, Houston, we may have something. Okay, so Misery Merchant, Walking Dead Season 2, Episode 1, All That Remains, Part 7. Alright, give me just a second. And... Alright, give me just a second, I'll see if I can pull it up. And if people haven't seen it, I'll pull it up for you, to be honest. Give me a second. ladies and gentlemen. I think we're in business. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm going to play it for a minute. You let me know if you can hear it, and if you can, then good, and then I'll play the whole part out. Big up to Misery Merchant for actually finding this. So here, I'll play it, and then we'll see what's what.
Sounds scary. I bet it hurts.
Damn. You're gonna sew herself up with fishing line. How hygienic. Ugh. Ouch. This is not gonna be good.
This is gonna suck.
That's what I just said. Alright. First of all, you gotta disinfect it. Peroxide first. Peroxide doesn't burn, though. If that were alcohol, that would suck, but peroxide doesn't burn. What? Peroxide doesn't burn. Who wrote this game?
Okay.
And this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is what happens when you spoil your fucking kids and whatnot. So take that in. Take that in. And we're not even, it gets darker. All right, here we go.
It's gonna suck.
That's what I just said.
Sounds scary. I bet it hurts.
Fishing line. How hygienic. Ugh. Ouch. This is not gonna be good.
This is gonna suck.
That's what I just said. Alright. First of all, you gotta disinfect it. Peroxide first. Peroxide doesn't burn, though. If that were alcohol, that would suck, but peroxide doesn't burn. What? Peroxide doesn't burn. Who wrote this game?
Okay. Okay, I'm good.
Peroxide feels like nothing. I know, I've used it hundreds of times. That doesn't hurt. Whatever.
Now the fun part.
That was false. It's like they wanted it to be worse than it was. Alright, gotta sew it now. That's bullshit. Oh my god, yeah, thread the hole. Thread the needle hole, yes.
Now, just like last time. Just how Krista showed me.
Oh god. Oh, so she's done it before. In a surprise move, she uses the thread to crochet a scarf out of the bandages. Oh my god. Oh! Oh! It's like Mortal Kombat. Oh! Fuck, that thing's in there. Pull it through. Oh, yeah! Alright, here we go. Oh, yes! Oh, yes! Oh, yes! Yes! Yeah! I love it! Yes! 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 Now tear it through. Yes! Come on! Yes! Oh, yeah! Yes! Now stick it in your eyeball. Yes! I love it. Can we botch it? Is there a way to botch it and miss? Pierce a vein? Oh, yeah! Woo! Oh! Quick, find some pliers. Pull out your teeth. Yes. Here we go. Oh. Oh, yes. Ah, yeah. Oh, was it good for you? Gross. God damn.
Alright, so alright, so there's that. Big up to Misery Merchant for that one. Close that out. So yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, so that's that. Holy shit. There's that. Oh boy. It's hard to... You can't say I never told you that if you come here, I'm going to make it hard for you to smile sometimes. Big ups to Misery Merchant on that, though. I appreciate that. Whatnot. People, I'm surprised how many people didn't see that. I really didn't. I didn't really know that. I'm really surprised by that. But then again, and yet again, this is what I mean about DSP's past. Like, it's a gold mine out there. You know what I'm saying? It's a gold mine out there. There's a lot of shit out there. There's a lot of shit out there. Holy shit. I'm not sure. He clearly derives pleasure from seeing people get hurt or be embarrassed or whatnot, but then when it's him, well, you know how that all works out. So, yeah, Peroxide does burn, man, especially in an open wound like that. Come on, bro. But remember, he's put peroxide on hundreds of times, so I mean, equating to him being clumsy as fuck. So, yeah. Yeah, that's that meaningful content back in the day he used to make. So make of that what you will. Holy shit. Holy shit. Yeah, I'm surprised. Like I said, I'm surprised that more people haven't seen that. Holy shit. I appreciate you you basically co-signing my memory, because like I said, man, I've messed up and whatnot. I've messed up lore and stuff like that, or I've misspoken and so on and so forth and whatnot, and I can take responsibility for that. But it's especially like in a live stream type setting, it's very much helpful when people can co-sign that, like, yo, I know where that's at, or yes, I know what he's talking about. It helps. It's not really an ego thing. It's just confirming it. Yeah, the way he laughs at that shit, man. That's like that shit's a hard thing to watch. It really is. It really is. That shit's a fucking hard ass thing to watch, man. It really was. And like I said, you can go ahead and try to blame everything for the times and this, that, and the third, right? You can do that if you like. Call it comedy, call it dark, whatever the case may be. But I've never seen anybody who did a playthrough of that game and who acted like that. There's nothing funny about that. It's just, you know, there's some wild ass shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? And yet again, she's just, I mean, yeah, you could, and people could make the argument, oh, it's just a video game, this, that, and a third, and so on and so forth. Yeah, well, that's a kid. So if you have a kid, or if you've been a kid, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's something about that, you know, it makes it innately uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? And that's the whole, I think that's the whole, when you're trying to convey, like, people who hurt children or whatnot, right, for example. You don't need, that shouldn't even be a hard conversation to have, because innately, that's not something you should be doing. But then again, innately, you shouldn't want to fuck your mother either. And we saw what fucking Chris Chan did with that shit. You shouldn't be fucking talking about rape and using it and as a weapon, which is something that King Cobra has done against his trolls and shit and his haters or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, there's a fine line between what makes what makes a locale and everybody else. You know what I'm saying? But I will also say that the degree between anybody can fall. That's what I like to refer to it when people fall and become locales. Anybody can fall. Anybody. You hope not anybody, but anybody can fall. So, but it's a hard thing to watch. Or like the Colonel Sanders arc when he screamed "boy" over and over again. Yeah, I agree with that. Do I remember when he laughed about the old man whose card declined? I do remember that, actually. You bet I do. I do remember that. Holy shit, I do remember that. Damn, that's kind of obscure. Like that's a hard thing to find. If I was to look for it now. Oh, I do remember that though. There's a lot of piggy gems out there. I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of gems out there if you're willing to look. Holy fuck. It's a Phil's Day Off segment. I do remember, since you brought that up, I do remember during, if you remember during the pandemic, remember when he was sitting there cart watching other customers and shit, and he said he saw some woman, grabbing like 11 like jars of like, I think it was like pasta sauce or some shit. And he was sitting there getting mad. He was literally finding a reason on this stream to get mad at her fucking buying 11 jars of pasta sauce. And the first thing that came to my mind is, don't you make your own pasta pig slop? What the hell do you care that she gets 11 fucking jars of fucking pasta sauce? Who gives a shit? Like, he complains about the most wildest shit. Absolute wild shit. The old man who was buying a gift for his grandson and the card declined, that might have been it, system. That might have been it. Jesus Christ. When he could have stepped up and bought shoes for those kids, yeah. Red Knight, does Wing's mom think he's a pedophile? I don't know. I would say I don't know, to be honest. I'm not going to try to give you a long drawn out answer like DSP or Wings would. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think his mother gives much about him, period, to be honest. If I had to be upfront with you on that, I don't think she cares much about him in general. Because if you go back, for example, to the Aaron situation, that was a friend of his that supposedly exposed all this weird ass shit about their family and this and the third. Wings has said his mother told him, hey, make sure that nothing about me comes out. She was more concerned about how she looked than pretty much anything else. That's all that needed to be. That's all I need to know at that for that. But to answer your question, no, I'm not sure what she thinks. I don't have a clue. I would honestly think she just doesn't care. Well, yeah, that was a good catch on that. That's rough. Holy shit, that's rough. God damn. That was rough. But hopefully the next stream, though, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have some videos. We'll get back into the swing of things because, like I said, the 2 scripts that I'm running they work, which is good because like I really thought I fucked it up, and they work. And the next time Prop wants to tag team in, I should be able to pull him in just like the last time on Discord with no problem. So I'm pretty happy about what happened today. So, well, at least as it pertains to this, because anything that can help me try to bring you a better product, I'm all for. Let's see here. Mighty Thor. It's a good name, actually. I like that. There we go. Let's see here. Yes, as DSP will keep begging as long as someone keeps giving him money. And truth be told, like Cat, what does he have? What does he have to, like, he has nothing else to draw upon. To be honest, he has no discernible skills or any real options, to be honest with you. And I let me put it out there now. I'm actually one of the few people who, even though I think it's incredibly a bad idea, I am looking forward to him going into politics so he can get his ass blasted, no pun intended, by all the bread tubers and everything else. Because DSP's walking into that shit believing that he can play both sides and he can profit. Truth be told, people have already tried to do that. Monday Matt tried to do it. Boogie was somewhat successful at it for a while. But truth be told, we're in a day and age where people want you to choose one side or the other. You can't be both. You can't be both. Or can't, sorry. You can't do both. You got to pick a side. And you got to stand on it. And especially if he's going to do this shit for profit. There's no ways of going about it. But the problem is if he goes into politics, you're going to run into a whole new group of animals now. Right? If he thought that the detractors were a problem, and there are detractors that are still going to be a problem. He gets into politics, now you're getting into a group over there where the pedophile word is thrown around like they throwing around fucking hotcakes and shit. People who will dox you and look all your shit up. People who will follow up on your word as it pertains to, did you vote this way, you vote that way, because everybody has connections. Like, you're walking into a whole new fucking minefield. And trust me, they can smell a grifter a mile away because they are grifters themselves. And if you're going to grift, you got to pick a side. You got to pick a side. Who will outlast Ethan Ralph or DSP? I don't know. That's hard to say. Ethan Ralph is stubborn. That's his. It's really a matter of whose heart gives out first. To be honest, who dies on stream first? Really, does DSP die of a stroke or an aneurysm, a brain aneurysm, or does Ethan Ralph give himself a heart attack? That's hard to say. That's a very good question, though. That's a very good question. I know Ethan Ralph currently is trying to buddy up to Nick, and the reason why is because he sees Nick as vulnerable. So, and after that whole Dear John stream that Nick Rekieta had, that's who Nick really is. Like how malicious he was. Like I understand the whole parasocial thing, and what. First off, how did that dude get your phone number that you're talking to him on that level? That's the first thing. But to kick a man like that, and to sit there and say stuff like, you know, hey, you couldn't kill yourself because you didn't have the money to do it, or you weren't man enough to, or whatever. I mean, I've said some vile shit too, so don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna criticize Nick on that. But I'm not. But at the same time too, I didn't shit on somebody who I know personally who has problems or issues like that. You know what I'm saying? That cuts way too close. You know what I'm saying? And even if the guy did turn on him or whatever the case may be, just out of a respect type thing, even if the respect isn't shown to you, you didn't need to bring all that up. That was just unnecessary. I thought. That was just unnecessary. I don't know if DSP has 10 years left in him though, but he'll beg until he's going to beg till the end. What side would I pick as it pertains to politics? I don't talk about politics, Mike. Like, 3 things and whatnot that I was raised up on to never speak of in public, unless you're willing to die on that hill. Religion, politics, finances. I'll talk to you pretty much about anything else you want after that. But I don't bring up politics. I don't bring up religion. I don't bring up I don't bring up any of my financial situations or whatever. Just to keep it on the up and up. I do think, but I will say this though, I do think DSP is a piece of shit that you're gonna bitch and complain about how the government needs to do this, the government needs to do that, the government needs to do this, the government needs to do that, and you don't vote. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. That's just all I have to say about that. That never made a whole lot of sense to me. I've got another good question here. Let's see. All right, if Wings is a pedophile, why didn't he hide it? I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. Or if Wings is a pedophile, I should say. Sorry. Why didn't he hide it? I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I couldn't tell you why most people do most things. You know, I have no clue. It's the internet, man. There's a lot of quirky, weird, strange people out here. You know what I'm saying? Myself included. Because I can definitely say that because I talk about fucking weirdos and shit. So, you know what I'm saying? It's clear I'm clearly not completely on my I'm not completely on my rocker either. Which goes back to something that someone asked me probably in the last like month or so. Since the last stream, certainly. Where they were like, you know, hey, you told Ann Lee not to help you if you ever get in trouble because you're just as capable of doing anything just like Soma did. Like, what does that mean? What it means is that Soma's a person just like anybody else. Just because we're out here doing detractor content does not mean that the values that he has are the values that I have, and the values that I have are the values that he has. I don't know him. He's another dude that's fighting on the same side as I am. That's really what it is. But that doesn't mean that he wouldn't go after someone else, meaning Soma, by the way. It doesn't mean that he's not capable of turning against somebody. He doesn't have something to fucking protect as it pertains to his image or whatever the case may be. Excuse me. Whatever, kind of a voice crack. Whatever the case may be or yada, yada, yada. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't agree with anything that Soma did. But I can understand why he did it. I'm not condoning it. And he shouldn't have done it. He's been around long enough to know better. But that doesn't mean anything. Just because he's a detractor doesn't mean that he holds the values that we allegedly all hold. So the point I was making with Ann is if I get into a fucking spot, one, Ann should know me well enough, I'm not going to ask him for help anyway. But if I did, he should say no. Because who's to say I won't sit there and do what Soma did? Because what Soma did was take the help, and take the information, and take the knowledge that was given to him to protect himself, and turned around and used it against somebody else. Who's to say I wouldn't do the same? I was trying to make a point. Anybody is capable of anything. Like if you come to the content, you like what I do, you like how I say, you like the style or whatever, cool. You know what I'm saying? That's all well and good. What I'm trying to convey to you is I could slip and fall just like any other detractor, troll, hater, or critic. Is that an excuse? Is that a reason? Am I saying that I'm better than the next man? No. I'm not. I'm not better than Soma. I'm not better than Ann. I'm not better than anybody. But I'm honest enough. I'm honest with myself and I'm honest enough with you to tell you I could fall just like anybody else. I've had plenty of people wish it upon me. I'm just as capable of falling as anybody else. And it's just something that I want you to remember. Anybody who does this shit can take it too seriously and fall. And it's always the small things that turn into big things. I'm not trying to say this to you to, like I said, put myself above anybody else. That's not the point that I'm trying to make. I'm just saying that anybody's capable of anything. If he learned his lesson with Soma, good. And keep that energy moving forward. Because you can't trust everybody. You just can't. Especially online. You don't know these people. You think just because you sat in a Discord with someone for a while, that meant something? You think just because he's been around for a long time, he got a lot of numbers, that means something? It don't. I knew a lot of people who came into this who I thought were good people. Well, I want to say they are good people. But they slipped. They slipped. And the only thing that should have been a surprise to me is to think that it couldn't happen. And it's a mistake that I won't make. I understand that anybody can slip, myself included. And it's one of the few things I have to keep me sharp. It doesn't mean I don't like it doesn't mean that I don't like people, it doesn't mean I don't want to interact with people, it doesn't mean any of that. It just means I understand what I'm capable of. And if I understand what I'm capable of, then I probably have a pretty good idea of what you're capable of. So to address the next person who I've also been in a bit of interaction with, you saying that, oh, you're blowing things out of proportion with Rich, you know, yada, 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 let those other people make their decision. I'm going to let those other people make their decision. And just like with Jay, just like with Hogan, just like with anybody else that Rich has already fucked over, when it happens, I'm going to be right here to basically say it didn't have to happen that way. I could have said, I told you so. But truth be told, I would prefer to say it didn't need to happen that way. Because there's enough out here to see Rich for what he is. Now, if you're suffering from troll remorse, or if you like Rich, or you've benefited from Rich, or whatever the case may be, and that's the path that you want to take, cool. Cool. But when that ice breaks, and it will, don't be surprised that people are going to have something to say about it. Everybody out here, well, not everybody, most people out here care about their image, right? They care about what people think about them. If you are not moving in a conscientious sort of way, and if you're not taking some type of stock of the people who are around you, then you're setting yourself up to be judged. That's all. It's not all Hallmark cards and bubblegum in the detractor community. It never was. You had a bunch of guys out here trying to play this nice guy shit, trying to act like, you know, everybody's cool and this, that, and the third. And that's not what was going on behind the scenes. That's not what was going on in those Discord conversations. That's not what was going on in those Twitter DMs. But everybody on the public wanted to keep the public face that we're a united front. And I'm all for I'm cool with the united front shit. But don't act like none of us are not capable of doing something that DSP or any other lol cow has done. That's the point that I'm trying to make. He wants to get into DSP wants to get into politics so he can argue about fucking Uber Eats and shit. I thought he was on some like DoorDash savings plan. Like if you used, I can't remember I remember him talking about it. He said like if you pay, I guess it's like a DoorDash membership. I don't know. I don't fuck with it like that because I like cooking. But I thought there was some type of thing that you could have with DoorDash where you paid a little bit extra and you got like a discount, I guess, or you didn't have to pay delivery tax or whatever the fuck it was. I can't remember what it was now. But I thought he was doing that. But arguing about fucking the economy, that's not the way to go about it. Any update on Agent Jasper? I hope that dude's hope he's doing all right, man. I'll tell you that. He's been down bad for a while now, but you know he's surviving. So he lived longer. He had lived longer, I should say, than what was it, Cinnamon and Raisin. The hamsters, basically, is what I'm saying. So. Let's see here. How's it going? Hopefully you're doing all right. I'm doing okay. Like I said, might stream if not tomorrow, later on in the week and whatnot. I would like to go over some videos and whatnot. There's a lot to go over. I want to go over LTG when he got booed. I want you guys to see it. To be honest, I got some Girl World fun shit for you. Go over some DSP shit. So. Let's see here. GTG, who was the guy that was making videos, criticizing Last of Us 2, blew up and deleted all his videos and moved on? You're not talking about, fucking A. You're talking about, well, I think you're talking about, let's see here. What was that guy's name? Are we talking about the same guy who had the blow up on Twitter when he thought when he thought other detractors were talking about him and whatnot? And Mannix, yeah, I'm not sure if that's who he's talking about. But he might be talking about Mannix. Yeah, he was he had a really interesting style to him. It was a very straightforward, ranty type of style, and it was like 3 to 5 minutes or something like that. He got a lot of information into a very small period of time, and I actually very much enjoyed it. To be honest with you, I think it was Mannix though. But then he went on Twitter one day, and he was ranting about how all the tractors were fake or something along those lines, and the only ones who were real or who were unique or whatever was like Snorpernell, Tevin, might name one more person. And if I remember correctly, Lip Jan and Oz. And Oz ended up cleaning him up on Twitter. And then he put all of his DSP, he didn't erase all of his DSP stuff, he put it all behind a paywall on a specified playlist. And then he went into going after The Last of Us 2 and got himself he made a lot of ground on that. He put in some good work with that. Yeah, that was unfortunate. I never ended up delving into what that situation was fully. But yeah, at least as it pertains to the content, I never spoke to the guy. I had never actually spoken to the guy. Yeah, maybe he did. Maybe he flew too. Maybe he did fly too close to the sun. I'm not sure. It's unfortunate. Cause he definitely had a unique style of going about it. To be honest. Chat, is Aquateal gone? Let's take a look. She take a hiatus or? Huh. Huh. Well, look at that. Well, wait. There's this right here. I don't know if that's the same person though. That's definitely not their original channel. Huh. Oh, look at, oh, Jesus Christ. Look at that. She'll be back the day after the strikes are cleared. Okay, cool. It looks like she's fighting strikes too. Alright, yeah, I didn't even know she was out of commission like that. Because she doesn't post a lot, so I thought she may have just taken some time off. But, yeah. Alright. Let's see here. Alright, back to Red Knight. Let's see here. If you're Wings of Redemption, what would you do? I'd get the fuck up off the internet, to be honest. Like, he has... Whether Wings has something to offer in the Call of Duty community is kind of debatable. As it pertains to right now, you know what I'm saying, and what the current situation is, or his current landscape, he doesn't have anything. He's already given up the fight. It's time to just let it go. You know what I'm saying? Now, truth be told, he really can't get himself a job in IRL anymore. He's damaged goods and whatnot. That's a cruel thing to say, by the way, but it's true. He's physically, he's done, and mentally, even if you gave him a cushy 9-to-5 just paperwork, he's not gonna hold up. He's not gonna be able. It's not gonna hold his attention. To be honest with you, he'll stress himself out. Is basically what I'm trying to say. There's nothing. He doesn't have anything else really he can do, and that in a lot of a DSP and in the way of a ReviewTechUSA. These guys don't have anything else they can do. What's done is done at this point. But I will say this: he can't stay on the internet. He's going to kill himself. There's just nothing. He has nothing else to offer. And let's be honest, Keem tried to throw him a lifeline, but Red Knight, if, let's say, for example, let's say I get into it with someone from Girl World. There's a bunch of people I can take shots at, but you know what I mean? And there's a bunch of people take shots at me. But let's say I got into someone from Girl World, shit blew up, shit got crazy, I got doxxed, all this other crazy shit, and whatever, and then I fall back. let's say a couple years later, Proper comes back out. Proper, who continues to do this, is made his way in all the different fields that he's wanted to, and he's like, hey man, I'm doing this thing. I think you'd be perfect for it, and I think you still have a lot to offer. Are you willing to jump back in? And if I agree to, right, I can't depend on whatever this thing is that Proper has presented me to be my end-all be-all. Because to basically pad my name, if you will, or to reestablish my name, I have to do content. And it has to be content. Wings doesn't do content anymore. He turns on his stream, he treats that shit like it's an ATM, and then he cries and gets depressed and brings his wife in there and all this other bullshit when things don't work out. He's not providing content on, essentially, on his main channel where his foundation's weak. Let's say it that way. He has a weak foundation and he's not doing anything to improve it or to redo it. So what is he really contributing to Locale Live? Nothing. Not a goddamn thing. And Locale Live is structured so terribly that if someone had a moment of clarity and really thought about what they're trying to do and how they will accomplish it, then something could really get done. Instead, he's just contributing to the problem. So Locale is nothing. They said they're not even getting paid. Even though Keem did say they get paid. He says they get paid on the 1st. Wing says they get paid on the 21st. So I don't know if Keem's fronting the money, whatever that is. But to answer your question, he has to get offline. Whether permanently or take a hiatus. But he needs to get offline. Because he's not doing himself any favors online now, or doing what he's doing. He's still in a bad spot. And he'll continue to be in a bad spot. And if you're talking about what he could do to kind of fix how people view him, he really can't. But what he needs to do, and this is something that bbno pointed out, that about, he had a video out there about some shit that he didn't even know about. I'm sure there's a lot out there people don't know about. What Wings needs to do is just, you might as well just divulge everything. Just debrief. And just apologize. And get it out the way. Are people going to accept it? Are people going to even care? Probably not. But at least you did it. Instead, Wings is sitting there in paranoia, and I know this is true. He's sitting there in paranoia waiting for the next thing to come up and be dropped on his ass. He can't really get in front of it, but he might as well own up to it. Just get it out there. And people are going to call you whatever they call you, and that's his fault. Wings fucked Jordy, and he just has to accept that. There is no getting in front of it, but goddamn, he needs to do something about it instead of waiting for the next thing to pop up and then him getting, raked over the coals. You know what I'm saying? Because after a while, this is fucking up with Keem's business plan, if he even has one. And so, it's just not worth the trouble. But he needs to get offline. That's what I think. He needs to get the fuck offline for a while. And he needs to figure out what he's really going to do. But he can't keep doing what he's doing. It's just not worth it. And he's just going to end up killing himself. That's wild if that's true, Excalibur. I didn't know that at all. I don't know why they would hit her channel because... I don't know why they would hit her channel because of that. But that's wild. I didn't know she even... I didn't know that. I didn't know she said that. So that's my thoughts on that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're essentially getting down to crunch time. I've had you guys for like 3 hours almost and whatnot. I would have liked to have had some videos going if I knew I was going to take this long. But to be honest, hopefully later on in the week I'll have some videos lined up. There'll be some fun stuff in there. If there's any other questions or anything on the way out, by all means, big up the Red Knight, by the way, because Big ups to all of you, really, because there's been a lot of thought-provoking talk going on and whatnot. So I very much appreciate it. Even if we don't share the same viewpoint or whatnot, still still very thought-provoking for sure. Actually, yeah, let me throw some salutes in chat, because big ups to that. I very much appreciate it. But yeah, that's my thoughts. I think I hit almost everything. Like I said, my thoughts on Review Tech, situation with the 00 situation with Lil Cow. I think Girl World, we can always come back and laugh at that shit. But I think I hit most of that shit as it pertains to Chantel. So, yeah. So we'll see on that. Let's see here. Do I think Wings 007's thinking is valid? That Wings is a predator? Is he overreacting? I mean, are you asking if I think that he really doesn't care about if he's going after actual pedophiles or if he just hates Wings altogether? I mean, I couldn't tell you. I don't know what his actual thought process is as it pertains to going to Wings, because honestly, I don't see what his end game is. His pegging Wings as a pedo doesn't do anything. Like that he's kind of had that scarlet letter on him for a number of years already. So, like I said, unless he has an end game, I don't know what it is. So I don't know what his actual situation is. I think that I think when you are in the trenches that long, you lose perspective and whatnot. I think if 00 really wants to continue to push this narrative, he needs to change his approach. To do that, he needs to step back and he needs to really look at what he has and determine what he needs, to be honest. But if he's still clouded or if he is sidetracked by his hatred for Wings, he's never going to get over the way he wants to. You know what I'm saying? And actually Silent Weapon brings up a good point. Because of all of the some of these pedophile, hunters or whatever they call themselves out here, a lot of them are just getting exposed as the grift, this, that, and the third. If I'm 007, I need to get myself away from that as quickly as possible and whatnot, because that's not going to fly. And but yet again, as I said earlier, if he really believes what he says, he has to go at PKA. You know what I'm saying? Because if you think about it, like let's put it. Let me give you an analogy. Back in the day, because I just finished watching this documentary on Welcome to Death Row. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's a great documentary. Anyway, take it this way. Think of Wings as Death Row. And Death Row is accused of all kinds of wild shit. Wild shit. Well, Interscope made more off of Death Row than Death Row made off of Death Row. So when you look at Wings and you look at PKA is the one that really profited and really benefited from all that crazy shit Wings was saying. So we're going to go after Wings, but we're not going to go after the people who profited from it and who propagated it and who put it out there. How to make that make sense? If you're going to go at Wings, and if you're going to keep going at Wings, you got to hit PKA too. I agree with that as well. I agree 100%. PKA is way too fucking big to be going at. PKA is way too fucking big for him to try to tackle. If he's trying to actually make a point, and it's not about Wings, it's about going after pedophiles, he has to go at PKA. He has to go at them. He has to ask them hard questions. Hey, why did you let this guy on your platform when he said all this shit? You guys were profiting off of it. Why did you continue to do it? Do you agree with what he said back in those days? These are the questions that he needs to ask if he's going to try to get his point over, or if he's only going to target Wings, and it's all about his hatred of wings and that's it, then that's just something he's going to have to eat because that's all people are going to end up, you know, relegating it down to. So, but like I said, I don't know what his thoughts are. I don't know how he's, I don't know what his particular end game is. So it really comes about it on that. Because there's no, I mean, I can't give you like an easy answer, you know, because that's a rough situation all around. I'm not sure if I could go with that. I think there's a lot of, I think we're at a point where I think some detractors, I won't say all, some detractors are okay with speaking on what they speak on and whatnot. Here's the thing. No one wants to be disliked, right? No one wants to be hated or anything like that. I get it. I get that 100%. It is what it is, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have no, it doesn't behoove me to give you bullshit at this point. You know what I'm saying? At any point, realistically. You know? I do things the way I do it. I serve it up the way I serve it up. If you like it, you like it. You don't, you don't. And like I said, I can take a hit. I don't have to chase people around in comment sections and on different boards to figure out all that. I don't have to, I'm not going to do that. I don't have enough fucks in the day to do that. I don't. And whatnot. If you were to say, hey, like Red Knight, for example, if he was to say, you know, hey man, I respect what you said. I don't agree with you. It is with that. I can live with that. Okay, cool. That's not a problem. If he was in here saying, you know what, you're just a fuck boy, I'm out. Okay. I'm not gonna lose a wink of sleep over it. So I don't know. I don't. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. It's not about being the realest or the hardest person out here or any of that. That's how I feel, man. It is what it is. And these are hard topics. Like, some of these people don't want to answer this shit, and I don't blame them. There's nothing cowardly about not wanting to answer this shit, because this shit's ugly. Because these are real people. These are, when you turn off the, you know, back to my analogy with Keem earlier, for a lot of us, you can turn off the internet and that's it. But you have to realize that there is a Cyrax out there. He does live in a neighborhood where there are kids. There is a fucking low-tier god out here wilding the fuck out on some dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? There is an actual DSP that's a fucking hermit, and every time he hears a beep or a honk outside, he running for the first fucking axe he can get his hands on. Or he's hiding in his own closet and shit. It's, you know what I mean? Like, you have to come to terms with all that. If you were the one to confront wings, what would you hit him with? Or sorry, would you hit him with? If I was able to confront wings, how would I approach him? Oh, that's a fair question, actually. That's a really good question. Let me try to give you an answer, though. I don't want to leave that on a cliffhanger. The first thing I would approach Wings on is, why did he quit? To be honest with you. Like, why did he devalue himself for women who didn't care about him? That's the first thing. And his mother's included in that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my first thing. Because he could have stayed just doing Call of Duty content or first-person shooter content and been fine. Second, if PKA was really his people's, and I think they were, at least in the beginning, why did you think it was okay, and why did they think it was acceptable for you to be out there talking all wild like that? You know what I mean? Because if you even go back and look at some of those clips when they had guests on there, even they were like, ooh. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of see that head jump back a little bit, like, whoa. So if these guys out here are your friends, they wouldn't let you talk like that. And they wouldn't let you conduct yourself like that, because that's not what your friends are supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Your friends aren't supposed to just let you go off on it like that. And the fact that they were able to essentially walk away unclean, or they were able to walk away from it clean, is something in itself. So that's the first thing, or that's the second thing. Third, if it was all shock jock, if it was all jokes, if you lied, whatever the case may be, why didn't you say that years ago? Why is that the narrative now when it's too late? You know what I'm saying? That's the reality. Like, it's too late now. Like, no matter what he does, no matter where he goes, he'll always have that scarlet letter on him. And he can't wash it away. And you hiding behind Kelly and you're in that marriage doesn't change anything or fix it either. You know? It just doesn't. So those are the top three things, at least right now. If I was to really sit there and think about it, I'd give you more. But those are the three things I hit him on. I appreciate that, Paul. Big ups, man. Yeah, Wings. Actually, I've talked to Red Knight about this on stream before too. Wings' mother did him hella dirty. She did him hella dirty, and he let it happen because he wanted her love. And it's clearly something he don't have. Because if your parents love you, your parents don't put you in situations like that. That's just something that don't happen. And he can run around and say, "I own this land. I own a quarter of this. I own it." Shut up. You don't own shit. I think he does own a quarter of land in the next county over. But as it pertains to that mobile mansion and more than likely the land that's on it, he don't own shit. So when he run around talking about you live in your mama's basement and you this, that, and that, bitch, you live in your mama's basement. Or your mama's mobile mansion or whatever. You want to run around here calling people high school dropouts and all this. Bitch, you are a high school dropout. Everything that he likes to throw at people, thinking he's shutting them down, is what he is. Just like DSP. DSP's a fucking failure and everybody knows it. You know what I'm saying? DSP's a fucking massive liar and a sellout and everybody knows it. You know what I mean? Rich is out here calling people weirdos, this, that, and the third. So is he. Because those weirdos that he was supposedly calling detractors, who was he? He was profiting off of them. So what's that make you? And that's the thing about some of the guys that are over in that crew that I never understood. They're talking about, he's talking about not just, you know, your peers or whatever, but he's talking about you. That's what he thinks about you. And you don't have to move on my time, but in time, you're going to have to move. That's all I'm saying. Because it's human nature, right? To not want to see anybody in a bad spot. Now, fuck a lolcow, because a lolcow's a lolcow. But as it pertains to my peers, I don't want to see nobody down bad or in a bad spot or whatever the case may be. I can't prevent it. I can't make people listen. I don't want to make them listen. Hey, this is my thoughts. Do what you will. You know what I'm saying? But when people fall, man, What's up, Flo? You know what I mean? You know, if you can see a situation that's coming about and you know it's going to end up bad, you want to speak on it. And you want to at least get the thought out there. Because that's all I can really provide you is a thought. I really wonder what Wings did for his own mother to despise him so much. I couldn't even tell you, B. I couldn't even tell you. He was probably, I mean, I hate to make it sound like this, but he clearly, given how he acts now, clearly how he acts around Kelly and whatnot, he was a burden, to be honest with you, because he doesn't have any ambition. This is me talking, by the way. He doesn't have any ambition. He doesn't have any drive. He only did Call of Duty because, to be honest, is because he was good at it. And people cared to hear him. But when all of that faded, and when he had taken on the responsibility of another man's kids and all of that, if you know, you know, he tried to step up for them in a way that maybe he felt like his father should have stepped up for him. Or maybe his parents in general. Because he clearly doesn't want to have his own kids. But he seems like he was okay, at least back then, with like a makeshift family. And you could tell for those kids, not on some pedo shit, but for those kids, he wanted to make it work. But he couldn't see the forest for the trees. He wanted something so bad and it wasn't there. She was only there to take advantage of him. They all are. Even Kelly to some extent. You know what I mean? I think she's probably more, what's the word I'm looking for? She's probably more genuine for her feelings than the other women who's come before her. But at the same time, she realizes he's never going to be more than what he is. And sadly, that's nothing. He's given up. And for whatever reason, his mother holds animosity towards him, and yet the drug addict brother is still loved and praised and all that. It doesn't even matter at this point. I don't think that's just something he'll never figure out. It's something we'll never figure out. I will say, and I've said it before, that thing with Aaron, I don't think everything that dude said was a lie. I've listened to it like twice so far, and I just don't think everything he said was a lie. I don't think all of it was true. A lot of it was probably exaggerated. I don't think all of it was a lie. And if that's the case, then it gives you an idea of what's really going on in that house, or what was going on in that house. So that's just my thoughts. It doesn't matter now. It doesn't matter now. You spent all of them. That's like DSP coming out tomorrow and saying, you know what, me and Kat want to have kids. What? What do you think? What are you gonna do, Wings? You're gonna profit off that child? You're gonna sit there and film, everything leading up to the birth and shit? Do you think Wings is mentally capable of having kids? Do you think Kelly can even deal with the physical stress that comes out of that? Having a child is, you're putting someone before yourself, period. There is no off day. There is no I need the reprieve and shit. You are there 24/7. There is no you. It is an us thing now. Do you really think Wings has that type of commitment? Anybody can bring a child into this world. Not everybody can raise a child. So that's my thoughts on him having a kid, Red. Sounds like LTG trying to charge a woman. Wings can't even find his own penis. You're not necessarily wrong. So that's my thoughts on him having kids. You know what I'm saying? Having a child is a blessing. I just don't know if he's built for that. So. That actually, Goji, that's a fair point. That's a very fair point. That's a damn good point, actually. That's a damn good point. Nowhere, yeah, hell yeah. You and Goji have definitely got back to back on this one. But yeah, 100%. It literally they let their localism define who they are. And like I said, hell is the only thing that's left, to be honest. And that's why apologizing now, just for what? Like, you know what I'm saying? For what? And like I said, anybody can change, most certainly. But you have to want to change. And you gotta get your cards out there on the table for that. That's like, for example, if I was to, I don't know, any detractor that I'm cool with, that's like if I betray their trust on some rich shit. And then whatever, and then we talk behind the scenes. First things first, when you do what Rich did, or what DSP did with John, the friendship's never going to be the same. It just doesn't just, I was in a bad headspace and you just go back to it. It don't work like that. And Rich uses this barrier as, it's on some online shit. So, you know what, if you never had an argument with someone before, yeah, when you have an argument with someone in real life and you start going in your friend group and start talking shit behind their back and whatever, there is no friendship after that. Even if you agree to be cool and whatever, it ain't the same no more. When you shake their hand or you give them daps to loving, you know the love ain't there no more. And here's the more important part. The people that you talk shit about, the person that you were talking about to whoever you were speaking on, in the back of their mind, those people are going to be thinking, well, fuck, if you're going to talk about him or her like that, then what have you said about me? What do you think he said about you? See, that's the thing people don't understand. But when you're a kid, this is what your childhood teaches you. When you know what I'm saying? And you definitely learn that as you progress through high school and college. Once you get to adulthood, you should know these things. The problem is with a lolcow is they clearly didn't. And you can't make excuses for it. Because it don't make sense. It just don't. Nah, Paul, man, I'm good, man. Listen, you've given me, all of you have given me plenty. Get out of here. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate it. You guys have been great. Thank you for listening to me babble on for like 3+ hours and shit and whatnot. I should have taken my friend Declan's advice and kept it at like like 2.5 hours, whatever. But I had a lot to say, so you know what I'm saying. I appreciate that, Bull. I really appreciate that, Bull. But no, I'm good, man. Like I said, get out of here. Go to your favorite restreamer. See what's popping with that and whatnot. And like I said, if I don't see you guys tomorrow, I'll see you later on the week. Like I said, we'll go over some videos. We'll have a couple of laughs. It'll be fun. But like I said, thank you guys for all your time, man. Very much appreciate it. I appreciate all of y'all and whatnot. Whether you agreed with me, disagreed with me, or otherwise, very, very much appreciate it. I just wanted to provoke some thought. That's all. So to anybody who, like I said, who's on Rich's side or whatever, it ain't nothing personal, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that look at the forest for the trees. This is 2 people in the span of what? Less than, we're only in February. It's 2 people that he's taking shots at. Hogan and Jay. What does that spell for the rest of y'all? That's all I'm saying. Anyway, thank you guys very much for your time. I'll catch you guys on the flip. That's pretty good. I actually like that. I'll catch you guys on the flip. Get out of here. I'll see you later.